Press the button. Press the button.
There we go. Meeting is live stream.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Right.
There we go.
There we go.
We're on.
Close that.
Yeah. Let's go. Go on then.
Yeah.
Go on,
Hello. Welcome to. Is it number 16?
Hey,
yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, number 16.
Woo woo. Is it the 16th as well today? Can I just?
Yeah, it is.
It is the 16th today.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, 16 or 16.
Yeah, that's a bit
17.
mental, isn't
It
it?
has, yeah, because numbers have been lining up this week, haven't they?
Yes, they have.
And the Tash. I know.
I still can't get over it. I'm going to be in straight jackets soon. Honestly, straight
It's nice to
jacketed
share
away.
the head book, isn't it?
It is nice to share the info.
It is nice to share the head book. Like, hey Tash, you're really good at this. The soul. What we called
Soul code.
soul code. What's this mean? And she's like, oh my fucking god.
It's amazing. Honestly, I'm still blown away. I just had to let it integrate in. It's blown my
Do you
brain.
think you should tell people what it is, what we're talking about?
Yeah. Right. We've all had downloads this week, haven't we?
We have, haven't
Massive ones.
It's
Massive.
yeah. So
Let me show you.
mm,
This is what we've.
this is what we've been doing this week, isn't it? And and what it is, what I did was I took the clock from the 6, standing on the 6, to naught. So I did all the subtractions to naught to see what would happen, basically. And so basically, there's no such thing as coincidence, is there? So of course I did all the subtractions to naught, and look at the 22s in there. 22, 22, 22, 22, 11, 11, 11.
11, 22, 22. Is that 22?
No, they're 3, 3. They're
33,
33, 33, and 6 and 6 and 6 and 6. But what I did was I started from the 6 again, and I kept on subtracting.
The highest from the lowest.
Highest from the lowest, out from the clock, just to see what would happen. Can we zoom in a little bit? So we did the subtractions out from the 6, which was the 72. Oh, I've touched the screen.
Don't touch the screen.
Oh, okay. So as I started doing the subtractions going out to get to naught, it went 110, 220, that's 330, which is significant. 220, 110, that's a 660, 110, 220. So look at the 22s, look at the 22s and the 11s coming again. And the weird thing about it is, it's like this is the original from the original clock. That is the 22 line. We called it the cancer line, if you wanted to, just to think. So as that went through, it worked out 10 calculations to the out of rings or spheres to the outside, which is the naught on the outside of the spheres, which is really weird because them calculations of subtraction went to the 10 out to that one, to the naught, 10 out to the bottom of that one there, and I'm not touching.
You did touch it.
Did I? I slipped. And then 10 out at the bottom as well, which was bizarre because there's no such thing as coincidences in any way, shape, or form. And I've always said, right from the word go, I don't understand all the clock. I haven't got a clue on all of it. I know what it does for us and where we've been with it. But then obviously, because you do your subtractions out from the clock, you close the clock by adding the totals up together. So then you can just zoom down on the 1 and 7 on the 1 line on the calculator. Yeah, that's it. That's what I mean. On the calculations on this one going out here, I added up from the 6 out, and it went to 24, and 24 at the bottom. And then obviously, what you do is add this 24 with the bottom 24, which is 48. So that adds a 48 because you add in that 20. You add in the total of that subtractions of that clock. So you add them up to balance your clock because you're adding out. Same on the bottom, and the 24 and 24 was 48, and then 24 and 48 is 72, which is the same as the 72 is 6 times 12, which is like mind blowing.
And 72 is full size.
72 is full size, as we well know when we used to be on the sixes. But then obviously we've now got another 10 parallels to the out, or 10 spheres to the out of that point. Of course, then I realised then we've got 2 sets of 72. We've got all the sixes, the 12 sixes, and then we've also got this new 10 sort of spheres going out here, which then adds up to 72 again, which then adds up to 144. And Tash was saying 144 is quite big, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big number, isn't it? A lot of you might have heard it, the 144,000. I know it's mentioned in the Bible. I haven't gone right into it.
Yeah.
But it's a big number that's supposed to be that many people have come at this particular time. I'm not quite sure, so I don't quite know if it's worth looking into. Star seeds, light warriors, light workers have all gathered in this particular number.
The chosen one.
Yeah.
That's right. That's what I've heard. Yeah.
And a chessboard has got 144 squares on it.
Ah.
Yeah. So within them 144 squares, you've got balance between black and white. I suppose you've got 72 of each because you must have to be a balance on a board. So it is that white star and dark star, and a balance between the two. And then the pH of black and white is grey. So when you blend the two colours together, it goes grey. So then you've got the holy grey all.
Oh wow!
Wow!
This is just the way I see it is because I look at words differently. You know what I mean? It's just part of our path, isn't it? How you can look at a word a different way, especially when we touched on it last week about phase and fable. When you split the word around, it's see, fear, and belief. So within that clock, there's so many similarities. I mean, can you just go back quickly? Because the only thing that when I did the calculation across here, which was the 11 line and 5, 11 and 5 going across, I did the totals down here, which come to 24. Then you balance your clock. You've been subtracting all the way out, so you then add them totals together, which come to 24. And on the 11, it added up to 14, which was 38. Now on the original clock, that figure there, 38, is one of the calculations outside the clock, which we never knew what all them calculations were. Yeah, clock? Go to the original clock.
Oh,
nope.
I pressed the wrong button.
Sorry. There we go.
Oh, it's not letting me open it. Open with.
There you go. And there's one of the original calculations of that clock with 38 on the outside look, on the 11 and the 5 look.
Let me, where's me? Oh no, where's me? The mouse is gone. The mouse isn't working on that for some reason.
Anyway, you can see, I can see, I look quite intelligent tonight with glasses.
On the 11 line, it's got 38 at the top.
Yeah, so you can see there, look, on the original clock, you got 38, look. So it obviously ties in somewhere because we've got this outside calculation of these outside calculations that we did on this clock of the 22 look. When you do your totals, and there it is, 38. So it definitely links into that clock of these totals.
On the 11 and 5 line.
On the 11 and 5.
You can't point, Barry, they can't see you.
Sorry. So then obviously on the 1 and the 7 line, look, you got your 22 line which goes through, so they add up to 22. But on the new clock, or the add-on to that clock, yeah, they're 11, which is 22. 11 is 22.
And they're both sacred numbers, 11 and 22.
Yeah, and don't forget, there's 11 letters in Abracadabra as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then what I did was just to see what would happen, just to see carrying on the same sequence as the sequence that we was given when I put the clock together. I just carried on doing the same thing. So I counted up how many 22s there is. There's 5 22s, which then add up to 110. Well, if you look on the outside of the clock, look, that 11 is 110, look, and out.
110.
110.
110.
110. 110. So I was like, and then I just did 3 times. I did 3 times 11 or 110, which is 33. Well, then you come all the way down then onto the old 369 line. Yeah, here, look, and there it is.
330.
330. 330.
330.
And obviously the 30 line here and the 30 line there, that's on the original clock. Then we totaled up these figures, and this gives you a 30 line and a 30 line, a 30 here, because you've got 30 degrees of separation on a 12-hour clock in between each one. So as you can see, it's like it's mind-blowing, really. So then what we did was I thought I just joined all the circles up,
All the zeros.
all the zeros, yeah, all the way around, and it gave us that shape. That shape looks so familiar.
We've even been on like Facebook groups for star constellations to see if it's some sort of star constellation, and
No, it's not.
there isn't one.
So
there's been a few guesses,
Second
similarities, but not exact.
yeah, not exact, but we think maybe they're not stars. These are individual universes of where we've come from, or previous homes, or whatever. Yeah, because they're all set on different points of the sphere. But it just feels a familiar. We couldn't stop looking at it, could we?
No.
Then we rang Tash up, didn't we, Tash?
Symbols.
We went, Tash, what's this? And she's like, oh my God, I don't know.
I've been tripping for 2 days on nothing just by going into it. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Go on, Tash, you say what you did with it.
All right, then, because I do, just as quickly explain that I do soul codes. So basically I read energy by looking into someone's eyes, getting a feel for their energy, and then I get given 3 symbols, or I call them soul codes. So I believe them to be past, present and future, but obviously time doesn't exist, and it all flows along simultaneously. So yeah, I generally get 3 soul codes, and I'm interested, and I do light language in my artwork, as most of you know. And obviously you asked me, didn't you, does this look like anything? And I I said, well, it reminds me of a portal, because it was literally, I was looking at it, and we were trying to have a conversation, weren't we? And we did start, but then all of a sudden we just went quiet, and we were all absorbed into it.
Yeah. Even Daz went quiet.
Even I.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Even I went quiet.
Exactly.
I said right from the word go, I went, fuck.
It's mesmerising.
I feel sick. It was almost like coming up on a pill. Yeah.
And then we all felt sick, didn't we? We all felt, because we went quiet, and then you said you felt really sick, and I was like, about, I don't know, 10 minutes later, I said, oh my God, I've got this headache right between the centre of my brow.
That's Nigel first.
Oh, it's Nigel.
On, yeah.
Hi, Nigel.
Hi, Nigel.
Oh, hello, Nigel.
Hey, Nigel. What's up, dude?
That's a wicked photo, isn't it?
That is awesome.
That's a wicked photo. Well, how long it took to pose for that?
Say a quick hello. Hello.
Hello.
Is he there?
Madly pressing buttons, saying, "Oh, bloody well, put me on!" Like we all do, you know, pressing.
I could feel that when you guys were talking about what you felt like when you saw it, it looked like a porthole, and the way you felt, I could feel it was like it was.
Yeah. Hello, Nigel.
Hi, Nigel.
Hello.
How are you? You all right? Welcome.
Hello. Don't interrupt anybody.
Who told you that? Your mum?
Yeah. Many years ago.
How are you? You all right?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Yeah. Oops. There we go. I want to put these on because
that's what I
feedback. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that better? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
good.
wicked. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Good to
Cool.
see you all.
Brilliant.
Good to see you all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
see
wicked.
you.
Looking
Yeah.
well.
Cheers.
Got your clothes on this time as well.
Yes. Yeah, I got my vest. Got my vest on.
You're looking very summery for England.
I'm not in England.
Who
I'm in
is?
Los Angeles.
Got my scarf
No,
on. It's freezing here.
Really?
Yeah, it's really
We've
cold.
still got
up here.
shorts on and everything.
Yeah. Well, I've not, but yeah.
Yeah. We've got
we've got
doors open, windows open.
Yeah, it's lovely
Yeah.
here too. Los Angeles is so hot. Really is.
Nigel, I've
Oh.
seen you before. You do videos, don't you? Because I've watched one of your
Yeah.
videos. I have, yeah. I've got, yeah. I was thinking, I know you. Where do I know you from? Now I know.
All over the place. All over the place.
You weren't
Yeah.
lurking around Bristol back in the day, were you, Tash?
No, this is recently on YouTube. About
Yeah, okay.
3 months ago, something like that.
Like,
Yeah,
let me be
I-
straight about this.
Yeah. I do music and art. I do music and art as tunnel mental, and if you look up the word tunnel mental, it's the logical progression from tunnel vision to tunnel mental. It was kind of a negative narrative when I started the band 30 years ago, but I've got a YouTube channel and all that stuff. I do all the social stuff, but I also have been on Mark Atwood's show, JCK show, a bunch, one called The Good Lion Den, which is good too. But it's basically just I've been using my music as a channel to put out narrative of where we are and what we're doing, and I just recently worked. I'm living in Los Angeles, but obviously you can tell from my accent I'm still got a bit of England in me.
Oh no, just a little.
Yeah.
Just a tiny bit.
More than a little.
I've been releasing music now for 30 years, and I've stayed off the radar most of the time, which is good for me as an artist, not necessarily good for my wallet, but at the same time, I've never been tempted into this silly game because I honestly believe that greed kills. Just when it gets to the point where we're in a society that's run on no holds barred capitalist exploitation of everybody and everything, dog eat dog, and I don't like that. I just never have.
No, we don't.
I like to help others.
Yeah.
My true intention is always to help others. So
Yeah.
I put out my music, and I hope that some of it comes back. And I've just collaborated with a person I saw on Telegram called Lisa Lula, and she's in England, and she did a rhythm track and a vocal track and recorded them on her phone. And with my little digital setup, I managed to make a dance track remix, and it's called Love Is All, and it's called Sting Love Is All, and it's me DJing, producing, and her drumming along and doing vocals. It's brilliant. I love it. So that's what I do, and love to all of you. And I first met these two wonderful hosts on Mark Atwood, on Mark Atwood's show, and I didn't put faces to them. And I recorded. I didn't know it was recorded. I talked to them about a week ago, or just over a week ago.
Either.
But it was, it was recorded, but it was so long, and I tried to edit it down, and my machines keep crashing, and so
Same
it never
here.
went
Yeah,
out.
I've
Same
tried
here.
downloading it so many times.
Yeah.
It just won't work.
Not
No.
meant to be, is it?
Yeah.
So
No.
just
No, I think there was stuff in there that was a bit personal anyway. So in a way, for both sides, because we were just
yeah.
mates, and there was a couple personal things that I would rather not be out there. But and so.
But
yeah,
that's what
maybe
happens when if you're on a good vibe, universe
Yeah.
takes care of you, like this is
Yeah.
absolutely, my life is the same as yours. All I want to do is it's all about all of us, right? All of us. And if you're doing the right thing, universe is right there. It's just your best buddy taking care of you when you're off doing what you should be doing, which is living in the moment and being kind and being creative and caring about a fucking thing, you know, because there's so much not caring about a fucking thing going on that anytime you do, I think power is just like massive. And it translates to everybody, you know, it doesn't matter what you're doing. It just makes its way out to everybody that's on that same vibration, you know? You just don't need to. Actually, the universe is the best PA in the world.
Yes.
Best
It
ever.
is. I was talking to somebody today, and I was saying the thing is, all youngsters growing up haven't got anybody except horrible people to look up to.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, it's true. Back in the day, there was a few nasties about, but now there's millions of nasties about, and I think the only way to get on in life is to be nasty.
Yeah,
some people will just be drawn to that, though, won't they? And then other people will be drawn to good. I mean, it's your choice. It's free will. Everybody has a choice.
Yeah.
But not everybody is awake and aware enough to see the choice when it keeps revisiting, because you don't get your choice once and then it's gone. You know, I mean, it keeps coming back. So it's a continual, every day we renew, not our vows to ourselves of what we're going to do, but you make a decision every day, you know. What is it? I love that saying, it's not in the choices, but the choosing. And every person has the same chance to do that, but not every person is geared to be on the same vibration, whether it's now or later. But I think there's some that just are never going to vibrate the same, ever. There needs to be, I think, a push against each other, you know?
Yeah.
You're exactly right.
Can I just say how nice that chair is that Amy's sitting?
Yes,
Look
I
how
was
comfy
thinking that.
Quite regal, Amy.
Where are you?
So James Bond.
Yeah, you like using my fireside.
That chair looks so comfy.
Yeah.
Or is she tiny?
Thank you.
I was thinking that a minute ago. I was thinking I want to make a comment on Amy's chair.
I know. I've just seen her. It looks like part of Santa's sledge.
It does.
Yes.
Yeah.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, this was my mum's. She gave me this a couple of years ago. So, yes, I spend a lot of time in this chair.
Oh.
It looks
Lovely.
lovely, isn't it?
Lovely.
What's the name of that doctor that became very popular right at the beginning of this lie, the whole COVID? Oh, Dr. Vernon
Yes.
Coleman.
Yeah, he sits in one.
He's going, hasn't he?
He sits in a leather Chesterfield.
Yeah, he sits in a chair to do his videos.
Yeah, just like that. You should. Yeah. Yeah, I've always liked Chesterfield as a mate. You know, it's the button back, and they're well made sofas and chairs and furniture, and it's leather and it's nice. Yeah,
made to last.
Exactly. You know, I mean, part of what we've got going on in the world right now is this disposable society. And I mean, when you were talking,
bad.
When you were talking earlier about, you know, built-in obsolescence, about everything that's built with the idea that it's going to break, it's built to break, and hopefully that's what we're witnessing right now is the system itself, because it was built off of that, it's starting to break, and the real world, which we know and we're aware of, it is going to be revealed beneath this broken shell, because it's just a shell,
and you can't attack it. When we did, I won't go into it again, but when we did the banking, I think there was more concern how their system wasn't protecting them.
Right.
Yeah. I think there was more concern about how their system wasn't working. You know, this like psychic system or an energy system that everybody's part of, so you don't see the truth and you don't see what it is. And we did that a long time ago. We had some mushrooms. And I said, what's your favourite film? And you could see all the toy cars going over the cliff. You could see it for what it was.
You could see all the mistakes.
All the mistakes.
Jumped out at you.
All the toy cars.
They ruined it for me.
Ruined it for her.
Indiana Jones. I love Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Yeah. But you could see the toy cars. Yeah, you could see the toy cars, you could see exactly what was going on. Yeah, all the trickeries and everything. But when you watch the film normal, you don't see that.
No,
you couldn't see it. As soon because I said to you, I said, "Well, have these mushrooms, blah blah. What's your favourite film?" Of course, you can see the little toy cars going on the cliff over the cliff. You see all the mistakes. You see everything. So you open, it breaks down them veils of, how shit these films really probably are, and you can actually see it for what it is.
Yeah, I mean, part of my work has been over the last 30 years. I've been working as an art director and production designer, mostly in commercials and music videos, because music videos is what I love doing. But anyway, I progressed into short film and movies, and I did one feature-length movie. It was awful, but all the while I'm working with special effects guys, and it's getting more and more and more and more obvious that pretty much everything we're seeing is an illusion, or can be an illusion. There was a film came out, it's got to be 10, 15 years ago now, called Wag the Dog, with De Niro De Niro and Dustin Hoffman, and it really did show a producer, a writer, and a director, and a politician creating fakery in order to get funding, and it's right from. I mean, if anybody hasn't seen the film Wag the Dog and then apply it to what goes on in the world, you're like, okay, the illusion's over.
Yeah.
I'll watch. I haven't seen it.
Was it that film? Was that film all about faking a war somewhere abroad?
Yeah,
that's it.
I watched that late one night years ago.
Yeah,
and I told you about it.
Yeah, because we had a conversation about it. And we said, isn't it funny how they call it the theatre of war?
Yeah,
not about the
one of my favorite bands too, called Theatre of War.
Did you ever meet Steve Strange? Did you ever meet Steve Strange?
No, I never did meet him. I didn't meet many of that.
We're jammed.
New wave. I did some, but yeah.
No,
new wave era, because Steve Strange didn't catch on in the US. I mean, Visage, which was his band, wasn't it? Steve Strange Visage. Did he do Visage?
Something like that,
yeah. They had one hit here, but
right.
I mean, I've been here too long.
He was on a TV show, weren't he? I used to love watching him. He was on a TV show in England, weren't he? He used to do hairdressing.
Yeah.
Now, of course, by this time, he was completely shot, wasn't he? And I'm like, my God, I'm going to cut my hair. But I used to just love his humour. He was like, come to cut your hair. I'm like, oh, my God.
He was a funny guy, though.
But he was a funny guy. Yeah. I was wondering if you ever met him at all.
No. I mean, the whole thing with meeting your heroes is I've never... What was that Stranglers song? No More Heroes. I never had any heroes. I got inspiration, but from many, but I didn't. I've always met people eye to eye. I mean, everybody's the same to me.
Yeah.
But I did get to meet some very famous people, but it's like the only one I found really, really interesting was David Bowie, because when I met him, a friend of mine was art directing one of his later videos, and so I went there and I was sat watching him build the set. A friend of mine was directing it, and David Bowie came over and he said, "Oi, you're English?" And I was like, "Yes." And he said, "I think it's just you and me." And he looked around, he said, "Yeah." And I said, "What do you want to talk about?" And he went, "Well, not this. Let's talk about landscape gardening." And he talked, and we talked about the reshaping of Britain by people like Capability Brown, who basically uniformly created all these big stately homes and gardens and recreated the landscape. And I said, well, it's weird that we're talking about landscape gardening. I said, you're a singer, but it was really, but he was
down to earth.
Yeah,
Literally.
and he was he was very well informed. He was well read. He knew lots of subjects. So it was nice. It wasn't adoration from, it was just two blokes chatting about gardening, and
Yeah. That's wicked, isn't it? Isn't it?
I like that. And I've never really thought of anybody as a hero, because we either all are or none of us are.
Yeah.
And so
Is there such a thing as being heroic?
Oh, to do a heroic act.
But a hero,
yeah.
The hero to me is just those people that do it one time, or maybe more, but they go running into the house and carry out that old lady out of a burning house, or just do something heroic. So I think that's where this romantic notion of heroism became a character rather than a trait that we display in times of
it's
need.
that fairy tale thing, isn't it? The hero's coming along to save you.
Yeah.
But what I don't get is people that go to the North Pole and then freeze to death and then come back as a hero, and I'm like, I don't get that. Why would you want to go up there and freeze to death and then they have them on the TV and news? Oh, you did this. I thought it's stupidity.
I think
and they've lost fingers and toes and
it's like bonkers.
Although I don't have a hero or heroes, one of my favorite books is The Hero's Journey, and it's about each individual having this hero's journey where you go through the dark night of the soul and you get inspiration and then you come up the other side. But it's choosing to be on that path. I believe in mythology. I believe myths and legends. It's, I've got a totally open mind. But this romanticism of the Knights of the Round Table, the white hats, somebody's coming to save you. Somebody's coming to save you. No, you got to save yourself.
Exactly.
I mean, and so,
definitely. 110%
definitely.
there.
Yeah. So
yeah,
if
definitely.
you get a chance.
I mean, it's a nice notion and everything else, but when you stand back and look at it, you think to yourself, wow, is that just keeping us down because you think somebody's fighting your corner?
Yeah. I mean, Joseph Campbell wrote The Hero's Journey. When Joseph Campbell wrote The Hero's Journey, he was taking a lot of work from Carl Jung, who was a great psychologist, but also a philosopher. So it was all about doing the shadow work within yourself. And Joseph Campbell influenced a lot of people. Alan Watts.
I love Alan
George.
Watts.
Yeah, George Lucas. If you look at the Star Wars thing, that's all about the hero's journey. And in fact, when George Lucas went to make Return of the Jedi, he called it Revenge of the Jedi, and Joseph Campbell reminded him a really heroic act wouldn't be an act of revenge, it would be a return, because like the hero's journey, it would be a return. So he renamed it from Revenge of the Jedi to Return of the Jedi, because Joseph Campbell, who wrote the hero's journey,
using words properly, because if the title of the movie is going to live, right, because probably X amount of people watch the movie, but how many millions more read the title? And we've all done it, where a title of a book or a movie, and it springs to mind, like you have an idea of what it is. So in being sensible and giving it a positive tick, then it's going to continue to have a positive tick, even if it's just someone reads it for a second,
Yeah, and you can read a text 3 different ways as well. You can look at a text and you can read it 3 different ways.
Yeah,
you can read it good, bad, and you know what I mean. And it's the same thing, but you can read it 3 different ways. You got to be careful with the text of how you read it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just text though. It's all
everything.
All written words, all spoken words have to be formulated, and what happens is we've been trained over the years to only read the headlines. You know, this is what social media has done with and television and advertising. It's got us trained to just read the headlines, just take the buzzword, and it triggers everything. So we've got to really just go deeper within and go every time we hear something, instead of having a knee-jerk reaction, because we knee-jerk react. You know, I get poked I get poked by people that know me, because they know what the triggers are for me, and they'll get me into a discussion, and then they'll go, oh yeah, I'll just give them a little nudge here, because they know what triggers me. You know, I mean, I can't stand. I'm totally a pacifist. I mean, 100% pacifist. But I will get angry, and I will get into a strong debate if they prod the right words. So my ex-wife is just a master. She can use like one word, and boom, she's triggered. You know, and it's and you know, raising my kids, they're 20.
My mother can use one look.
A look can do it.
Yeah,
just that a certain look, and it's like, oh my god, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
So that leads us back to abracadabra, doesn't it? Because that's the use of all those words, you know, spelt backwards. You know, the fact that we started with an A, but it's not the first letter. You know, all these things are things that are reminding us that we're in a complete cusp. I mean, this is not like a cusp between, you know, Gemini and Taurus. It's not a cusp like that. This is I think it's doing away with it's doing away with time and space. I mean, I'll go there, but it's like, in my mind,
we spoke about that.
Time and space. Time and space are going to completely collapse for everybody. And at that point, there are those that can understand.
We've seen it on a journey, didn't we?
It already is, though, isn't it? In theory, if you think
we've seen it on a journey. We've seen it on one of the journeys, didn't we?
Yeah, I've seen it on two.
We've seen it on two of the journeys. You know, and literally the whole of the sky was collapsing around us, and it was just like boom, 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 boom. We're like, and we were sort of like in a protective bubble, weren't we, or a star? It's like around us. You see it pushing on the outside of it, and it was all collapsing all around us, wasn't it? It was like, whoa.
We've seen it twice, haven't we?
Seen that twice.
Yeah.
Seen that twice. And that's why, like we were saying before last week, about demanifesting ourselves out of here. We keep manifesting, trying to move forward, but I think the time is up. And this is what I was saying before, on our journeys, it's almost like one of them, it was like there was different sort of like species or alien species that have been brought here, and then we gave them our form, embedded them onto a planet, so it made them feel like there was part of it, embedded them into the history of the planet, embedded them into the religion and embedded them in for them to be a positive being to move forward, and they've basically let themselves down and failed every time. They just want to destroy everything. And even to present day, look at what they're doing, destroying this, destroying that. And they're so, like we were saying before, they're so obsessed in getting out of here into a different planet before they sort this one out. So you look at that money and resources to fly to a different planet. Well, put that into this one and sort this one out. You can breathe here. This is your home. Why you want to go somewhere where you can't? It's almost like they're trying to get out and run away because they know the inevitable is coming. I'm not 100% sure, but that abracadabra clock, I think it's part of all of us. Yeah. And I think that's the time when the universe goes, time is up.
Yeah.
Click, click, click. We're not the judge and jury, and I think we're children of the universe that have been sent down to finish off what you're doing,
to help with the last chances,
to help with the last ever chance before time runs out for them. And I think that clock is the 12. You know, it's tick tock, and I think it's something to do with their time running out.
Yeah,
and they've only got so much time to do, and so I feel that like we're the watchers, and we're the ones watching them, trying to guide them on their last chance. And the fact of it's just another way of looking at it. Instead of us being the downtrodden ones trying to prove ourselves, I think that they've got to prove themselves to us.
Yeah, exactly.
Through us into the universe.
Yeah, I mean,
Mother Nature is watching. I think Mother Nature, a lot of the journeys we've been on, it's almost like
popped up quite a few times.
She's been outside the door quite a few times, watching these energies, watching and learning. And it's almost like I've got a feeling she's actually armed herself to deal with problems of the future. And I always say, I always feel like it's a health and safety manual that we're all doing. So we're taking that forward with us, so these problems never arise ever again. And then we did it towards the end of a lot of the travels we went on, where we used to always like clear ship or clear house. So we used to take all the negative in a big bubble and absorb that into ourselves, and then create the beautiful to wherever, whatever. So we're the only people that can absorb that negativity
and change it into beautiful.
You can't create beautiful out of beautiful, because how do you know beautiful is beautiful is beautiful? You can only make beautiful out of negative.
Right.
Then you know what beautiful is. So on our last journeys, we used to absorb all the negative that we used to be dealing with, whatever, absorb it, and then create the beautiful out of it. And then that's where relevant to and from was coming from. Relevant to and from whoever, wherever you are in the universe, to wherever. Because when we're not the judge and jury, but then that gets rid of ego as well, doesn't it? Because the fact of you absorbing that, sharing it to whatever, relevant to and from whoever, whatever, wherever you are, it will find you and share it. That's why we were saying last week, weren't we, about standing back and then looking in. That was another part of one of the travels, wasn't it? We were sort of like, we were stuck in this universe and we could never get out to the outside to look in. So one of the travels, wasn't it? It was like, we was on the outside, we'd made it to the outside and was looking in. And it was just like shown to me, like if you all sit around a bonfire in a circle, you can all see each other. But if you stand back 3 paces, you can watch everybody, but they can't see you. And that's the way it was described to us, isn't it? You could stand back then 3 paces, you can see everything what's going on, but they can't see you. So you can stand back from that fire, stand back from that.
And not be involved in it.
Not being involved and looking in past tense instead of. So because we talking in right here, right now, we're keeping it going. But if we talking by standing back, talking in, that's what happened, this is what happened. That's like an afterlife doesn't mean you have to die. An afterlife means that's what I thought then, this is what I think now. That was life then, but this is now the life now. You don't have to die after that life. So you don't have to die to pass on. And then we was talking about that last week, about standing back, standing on the edge. Now the Abracadabra clock, we used to stand on the 6s because 6s were the 72. So we thought that was false.
Thought that was the outer edge, the full size.
The full size of the expansion and everything else. But then this week I got up early one morning, didn't I? And then I started drawing that clock. Did you see it, Nigel? That new add-on to the clock.
Yes. Well, you posted it on. I've got Telegram opened on.
Yeah.
On my other screen. You posted it there. Yeah. So here we go. That's the one. Yeah. So I mean, and that symbol just seems, when we did it, we was doing it with Tash, weren't we? I did this and I rang Tash.
This symbol just seems so familiar.
It seems so familiar.
Mm-hmm.
It does, yes. I even told my husband, and he was like, wow.
I don't know what it is.
He wants to know where the blue is. He says there should be blue in it.
What, in this?
In that?
Yeah, my husband said it when I showed it to him. He goes, I see like blue, like a blue light or something.
Oh.
But you see,
there's lots of blue on the...
And what Tash did for us, she put it over the top of... Oh, nearly.
Press the wrong button, sorry.
Yeah. Tash put it over the nebula. and that's a star in the middle of the nebula. So we were trying to line it up with something to see if it fits. So Tash put it into the star right in the middle of the nebula, didn't you? Just to see how it fits or what it fits
Yeah,
to.
it's not the right picture, is it? The nebula, the star. Yeah, there's another one, isn't there?
But you see, isn't it funny how your husband went, there should be blue in it? There you go.
Yeah.
He has not even had a conversation with you guys, and this is what he says as soon as he sees it. Because you guys said, let him look at it and see what he thinks. But I haven't drawn it out yet. But I just showed him what was right on the phone, and he went, "Wow, there should be blue in that. What is that?" And it was
because the nebula. But that's what we was on one of our journeys, and on point of what we was talking about, this picture automatically loaded itself onto our computer
and stayed there for a few days.
on point.
And we'd never seen it before.
We'd never seen it before.
Heard of it before or anything.
It just came. It flashed up, didn't it?
And everything happens for a reason. And then it started changing.
Yeah.
As the days went on, the main star in it started getting bigger.
And it's changed its name because it used to be the witch's broomstick, but the coding of it was like 69 and 22, and it had all the different codes in it when it flashed.
GC690 or something.
Yeah.
6960.
And that was the code on it, and that code just resonated with this, isn't it? It was like boom. But since then, that's why we've always had that. We've always portrayed that as like part of the Abracadabra, because it came onto the screen
at the right time
of a conversation or of a journey that we was on.
Yeah.
We didn't upload it to the computer. It just uploaded itself into the computer for a screensaver. But out of all the screensavers that come on, that came on and stayed on. Badoosh, didn't it?
Yeah.
So, and we've used it for traveling around with it as well, haven't we?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's why we use that picture, because it's just
it means something.
It means something. Well, why did that just all of a sudden go boom onto a screen? And the first picture that we actually saw, it just looked like gases, didn't it?
Yeah. Then as like journeys went on, those gases actually turned into a big dragon.
Yeah, it did, and a baby dragon underneath it. And then because what happens is you can actually see the actual screen splitting apart, so it was all moving around, so it becomes like this. That's why I know the Abracadabra clock works.
That way.
Yeah,
like
because the print lifts off the page and starts moving around and doing its thing, which is like bonkers. But you probably know the print lifts off the page, separates, and then you get like different separations, and then you can watch what the numbers change, and it all starts moving around and blah blah blah. So we try and take in as much of that or what we're being shown as possible, don't we?
Yeah.
We've seen starships around the outside.
Isn't 144 the frequency when all of your chakras are open as well?
Is it?
Is it?
That does ring a bell, actually.
Which is bizarre.
I heard that, I think.
Yeah.
Something I didn't know.
Yeah. Because the calculations on the clock of the new calculations, we've got a 72 to the outside of that one. And then we've got a 72 because the 12 sixes are 72. And then another new one is also 72. And the 272s are 144, which is, like we said before, it's the same as a chessboard. And it's the balance between black and white as well. Dark star and white star. It's the balance between the two. And then Tash went, ooh, loads of people have been talking about this 144.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've just pulled up some information on 144 hertz. It's the sacral chakra for creativity, intuition, joy. It activates the willpower and the energy. So it's a throat chakra sound frequency. It's a healing frequency. So
wow.
Yeah, I mean, as a modality, I think 144. I mean, there's many like sound frequencies, and you know, I did a lot of work with sound frequencies because that's what I do. I do music and art. So I'm like, yeah, I'll do some sound frequency work. So I did. And 432 hertz is a healing frequency. I do all my music at 432. It was standardized, gosh, late 1800s. It was standardized at 440 hertz. So it could go global. So, you know, it's a bit like VHS or Betamax, you know, it's of its time. I don't necessarily think that they were shifting it to control people, although there are many that believe they do. But it was, yeah. But once you listen to music, it like all modern music, 440, it's okay, it's great, it makes you dance, it's still good. Yeah, but then you put it at 432 and there isn't very much audio change that you can define. But when I know I've listened to a piece of music and then I find out afterwards that it inspired me, and then I find out that the person who made it had bothered to put it in 432 hertz, I'm like, wow. Was I inspired because of the frequency, or was I inspired because I really like
to me? You know about
it. I'm going to say the frequency, because when I've done that experiment, I did the particular pop music, whatever it's at the moment, and then went to put the same song into 432. When I listened to the pop music, it was all right. Yeah, like you say, you dance to it. But then it was on another level. When as soon as it hit 432 hertz, I could literally feel the energy, the vibration through my body, and particularly in my heart. It felt completely different. So I'd say it was a frequency, a vibration, and it did feel totally different. And as you say, you can't hear anything different particularly. It was more of an energetic feeling within my entire field, if you like.
Yeah.
Amy, you're upside down.
Amy, you're upside down. Well done. You stayed in your chair.
So Cheryl,
upside down.
She must.
How would you do that?
Because she must have frozen.
That's one out of a fucking chair. That's all I know. Well, it Velcro.
It does help to be 432 hertz. It does, and it's because I've been doing this for a couple months now, like sharing 432 hertz or the share the healing, and I don't have as dark as circles under my eyes. I have no makeup on today. Do I look like I'm Night of the Living Dead? No, but before. And I notice when I get like I go days when I don't listen to it, I do start looking like the Crypt Keeper. Okay, I'm like, whoa, but because it does help. They screwed us up. They screwed us up so bad that we like you said, it sounds really great in the beginning, awesome. It sounds amazing in the beginning, but then. Immediately 80s music, I think that's where it's at. Like there's something about the
60s, 70s.
The music. I mean, I don't know if any of you get this, but it's like when I listen to a piece of music that's clearly inspired, it's like I get chills, I get bumps, and I'm working on some music, and sometimes I get them, and I'm like, okay, I'm on the right place, and then I find out after that it's 432 hertz, you know, and then so it's like I do know it works, but I don't know why it works, but I can get goosebumps listening to a piece of music and go, okay, now I know this is the right piece. You know?
Aren't the Tesla towers? Aren't all the Tesla healing towers 432 megahertz?
Yeah.
So I think it's just like vibratory. It's like the panacea. I think you think if music at 432 is medicine, music is the easiest distributed medicine because you can sing it yourself or you can have groups sing it. Well, look at singing. God, everyone campfires. I mean, you know, lots of shamans sing. So
the shower.
Black Eyes if I was singing, looking over like rings are back.
Well, a 432 adds up to a 9 as well.
Yeah.
So does 1 4. That's
Cleanse
a 9.
and purify.
Cleanse and purify, yeah.
Well, it's Wesley, you know, the 369 being the, you know,
Goose
the
drank wine. The monkey went walking on the streetcar line. The
Caroline.
line broke. Monkey got soaked.
We all went together.
With heaven on the little room boat.
I remember that. Very glitter
Stand back from the campfire.
Yeah. Well,
so do you think then this med bed sort of myth is just basically bombarding you with frequency?
Oh no. Med beds are very real, very real.
Are they real?
Plasma, sound, tachyon energy. There's a lot more to it, but it is frequency based.
Yeah. Because
we're frequency based, so everything to fix us to be frequency, but not sound. And let's face it, we talked about this before. The human only has the ability to see a certain spectrum of light, hear a certain spectrum of sound. So you think how much we've been corrupted just by that little bit that we can see and know. I think we're being corrupted on other levels as well. We just don't know it. But medbeds, I think, come in on all of those levels to meet every requirement that we have on all levels to create equilibrium and balance, so that then in our pure form, let's call it pure, right? We then go off and become our unique selves, you know, create music, create art, create words that have power and passion and love and create connectedness. So I think once we get our perfect mojo, our vibe happening, I think that's when everyone becomes so fucking uniquely fantastic that the world would burst, you know, like everything would turn so great to be neon looking. So to me, that's how I think med beds or any kind of sound healing, well, music, I mean, you know, you were just, what were we talking about it before? Nigel was talking about getting goosebumps, you know, when you
definitely
there,
we did, don't we?
Not driving or mopping or talking with someone, when you're really listening and allowing it to be part of you, allowing senses in us that we're such bastards sometimes. We go, oh, I've got sight, I've got hearing, I've got taste, I've got smell, whatever, and I'm on bumping into walls, scratching my ass. When in truth, if we just use these things as acutely as we can, then things like getting goosebumps becomes more than just, oh, look, I got goosebumps from what I heard, which is very two-dimensional, probably even one. You then can turn it around into something where you just close your eyes for that minute and just get lost in that beautiful feeling of, I don't care, I just know I feel absolutely awesome hearing. I think
because that's one thing I noticed many years ago, when it used to go, this is my all-time favourite, and then go, this is my all-time favourite, all-time favourite, all-time favourite, and I'm like, how many all-time favourites have you got? I'm like, especially women more than blokes have got these all-time favourites. Yeah, and I'm like, so anyway, I started listening to the words in the music. So I says to you, didn't I? I says, right, think of one of your all-time favourite tunes, with the words in it. Then put yourself back in that place, of when it was your all-time favourite. Then look at the situation that you was in, and it tells you what the problem is and what you got to do.
Ooh.
I mean, when it's not your all-time favourite, it's because you've moved on from that, and then you've got another all-time favourite because it's warning you and absorbing into you to warn you what's going on around you and how to get out of it. That's why it's your all-time favourite.
Frequency. It's frequency.
And females pick up on that probably more than blokes do, because that's why they've got these amazing, like, list, almost like a roll of wallpaper of all-time favourites.
No, I don't.
I do. I'm with you, girl.
I go, lots of things I like, but no, maybe genres, you know, like disco and classic.
But and I said to you tonight, put yourself back in that place when it was your all-time favourite of relationships or whatever, and it's telling you what's going on around you.
Do you remember a band? I just pulled up because I'm remembering a song that really affected me. It was a dance mix of a song by Cabaret Voltaire called Sensoria. And it's like you were saying, Cheryl, it's like we take for granted our 5, 6, maybe thousands of senses, but our 5 senses, we take those really for granted. But when you get into that place of sensoria, it's your whole being is affected by your senses. And I remembered that song, and that started to give me goosebumps just even thinking about it right now. But it was a great song, and it reminded me at the time that it's like our limitations are also our strengths, because we do only have in this human form, if we don't let go of everything, but in this human form we only have these 5 senses. Maybe some people are gifted with a 6th or 7th sense, but it's like with those 5 senses we can transform ourselves through the idea of absorbing ourselves in those sensory perceptions. I've got extra sensory perceptions, I know, because I sometimes I'll say I'll see, hear, feel, taste, smell, I'll get that, and then I'll go, but I don't feel it here. And then it's like, oh, wait a minute. And so that extra sensory perception is kind of almost like calling it our intuition, which again, when you said it was like it's a little more unique to women, I think because of the way we're balanced in our horrible system in our current global situation, I think the intuitive mother female aspect of ourselves, the female aspect of ourselves, because I think there's male and female in all of us, but the female
definitely
the feminine side definitely picks up on this extra sensory perception a lot quicker than a lot of like brute male, single-minded male. So I do think that there is a way of going through this sensory situation. I think that's why a lot of people I know have tried these the tanks, the altered state tanks, where they let go of everything. They go into an extra sensory bubble. They put themselves in these tanks. The sense that where you
flotation tanks, aren't they?
Yeah, but it's like it's achieving that altered state. I mean, I'm incredibly. Maybe it's a gift. Maybe it's a gift. Maybe it's a curse. Who cares? The point is, I feel that most of the time, that if I sit and I don't think, I have this psychedelic vision of where we really are, instead of this bricks and mortar.
Yeah, it's all energy.
I feel it all as energy, and I can be somewhere completely away from all of this and yet still be here on this planet. So that's
our travels.
And it's so
bang on.
I mean, people say it's psychedelia, but it's like, no, I've never taken any psychedelic drugs. I was just born this way, and it's something that I was very lucky, I suppose, or selected, or maybe I chose it from a further dimension to this dimension. Who knows? Because that's why I like this idea of time and space collapsing within our reality, because if we can be in a position where we accept that there is no time, there is no space, and we just perceive the beauty that is, and that's like what you have to get out of it in order to get into it, and then once you're in it, it just really,
with no time or space, there's no designation.
None.
You know what I mean?
No judgment. No judgment.
Anything. You're not designated anything. A name, this, that, a size, a purpose, a value, a weight, a description. It's just nothing. It's gone. But see, people are going to shit themselves big time when we lose all of that, because everybody identifies with these little thin veneers in our existence. So that's why a lot of people don't want to be quiet, don't want to be in their own space and be quiet, because they're not connected to themselves. In fact, it scares them because there's nothing there. There's nothing to happen to it. It'd be like floating around in black space, and the average person doesn't want to do that. So enlightenment really, to me, is the ability to connect to yourself, to quieten everything out here and listen to whatever goes on. What you're going to talk about in your mind is not always going to be like the guru on telly or the person that said whatever. I've found that a lot of my experiences are similar in ways to what people talk about, but they're never same. So once you realize your individuality is at a pace that's different, at a vibe that's different, and different timing, even though we don't want to use that word time, but the ability to be comfortable with yourself is the key to being able to change, to accept change, to adapt, to be able to encompass, to envision, and to move along in your own life in a whole and rich and full way that you are as an individual. But if you can't connect to you, that's where people out there think people like us are a bit kooky. It's like, well, what are they? What is that? What is that? It's like,
I've had that from being born, so it don't bother me. Isn't it?
Well, the thing is,
maybe that's why we were talking about this demanifestation when we all touched on it last week. Maybe we should all stand back this week and have a whole week of everybody just standing back,
observing,
and let it collapse.
Yeah.
While we stand within, we're holding it up. By standing back, let it go.
Right. I mean, there's a reason the shame.
Let's try it for a week or 2 weeks.
Yeah. There's a reason why in all indigenous societies prior to our civilized first industrial revolution rubbish, but prior to all of that, there's a reason why shaman purposely put themselves into a trance, and that trance is stepping back from the fire and just not being part of this, but being part of the bigger is, it's
standing in nothing.
I mean, I've been working with many brilliant light workers and lots of different people. I mean, JC and one in particular has been traveling a lot, and she's amazing, and Becky Barron. But her idea, and you did this a while ago when we were talking about the earth that gave rise to us, or we gave rise to this earth. This earth is crumbling, it's gone, but what's beneath that shell is whatever we want it to be, but we have to let it be. And you said
let's let it through.
And you said about the flowers, and it's like the same language even from Becky Barron was Gaia is blooming. And it's like this idea that we can let it bloom. We can't force it to bloom, but we can let it bloom by standing away from it and not getting burnt by this end
the mess.
of the glitches. I mean, it's a glitching universe, and if we stand back from it, the real universal love, which is what we really want, which is unconditional love, the real universal unconditional love can then bloom, and if we mess with it, we're tainting it. So
you know what, this is like that analogy about the egg, right? If you leave an egg to hatch on its own, it's going to break, and out comes the chicken or whatever's in there. But if you break it from the outside, you will kill what's in it. So being forced to live life, yes, in a manner, like you must run at life. You've got to go at life. You've got to go and get this. Be a fucking go-getter. Who wasn't told that? Like egg, where we have to sit in patience and trust and faith within ourselves that we do live in a much bigger big than this silly crap.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's fucking massive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been shown how big the universe is. It is massive.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
come,
it's like
whatever
you're dealing in infinities, don't we?
Yeah.
So when we went on our travels, we're dealing with infinities in infinities, and the planet is infinity, just the planet, the size of it, and the universe is absolutely massive, but it's tiny. It's the tiniest little speck, because you can't have massive without tiny. Yeah, and it's the tiniest little speck, but it's massive. And I said to the energies we work with, which I do believe is ourselves, it's our energy forms. That's why I see them on the reflective world, you know, through the glass. And I can see them on the outside. It's I think it's reflecting, it's ourselves reflecting through. And that's how it works. And it's all being built for the universe is that vast, it's that big, it's being built for space travel, having fun. Having a wicked time.
Adventures.
And literally when we're blending all the energies together, it always goes into like a starship shape, and it starts flying around everywhere. It's boom, boom, isn't it? And it's all about travel, enjoying yourself, and then building different universes within this like vast space of emptiness, because it's almost like this starship that we're all part of the same starship. So we all carry part of the original starship, which was in energy form. So we came in an energy form, in an energy starship. We've had to take this solid form on as a whole brand new form to go forward with. And then we all carry different parts of the starship. And by this stepping back, putting yourself back onto this point, which may be the outside points of that new clock, which is the 1, the 5, and the 7, which add up to, funny enough, to 13. Lucky for some. So it's like, and it's a case of standing back, and it's all standing back on these points and putting the starship back together to fly, because it won't fly unless we're all back on board. It's one of the safety things of the energy when we do it. It's all to do with starships and ships and flying. We do. Sounds wacky, but if whatever we're in or whatever we sit on, we start flying around and it's moving through the universe.
You know what I love?
I know, but it is awesome, and we hate coming back because it's so wicked, and you're having so much. Don't get me wrong. There's things and negative energies and stuff you're having to deal with, but I think we throw that out of ourselves to deal with. So, like we said before, when we used to finish the journeys, it also used to go a bit weirdo, and then all the energies wanted to attack you. But it took me a long time to realise it's now time to it's playtime, and it's something we used to do in energy form, of trying to fuck each other up with different energies and playing with it as a game, like play fighting, but with energies. And
it took us ages.
Took me ages to work out what the fuck was going on. We're like, why 1 minute we're all mates and we're all working together, and it all goes fucking wrong every time. So what they're saying is, it's now time we finish what we're doing, and now it's playtime. And then literally you're bombarding each other with different energies and everything else, and it's like it took me fucking years to understand that. But it's something that we used to.
And they go,
it's something we used to do. But it's something we used to do as energy form, because I've said it before, the energy guys they look like us, they are us, male, female families, they've got family units and everything else, but they can take any form on they need to and do anything they want. And I used to go, why haven't we got that? Why can't I be out there doing what we used to do? And they're like, you are all out there doing what we used to do. Just that you don't know. But when you're sleeping, that's when you're out there doing that in your energy form. And then when you come back into this one, this is a solid form. But the energy form, they used to try different suits in it, didn't they? Well, I was standing there one day, and there was like the energy guy was probably one of us, came in the back of me. It was like, oh, didn't it? Remember? I was like, oh. And they was like, oh, because it's the first time that they've ever had a win.
Physical.
They could, it's the first time that they could taste food, because it was an energy form. Yeah, the story wrote the physical within the energy form, but they didn't have this physical form. So this is almost like this physical form is what the energies are taking on. And the only thing they can't do is communicate, and it's a fucking nightmare. Communication
is terrible.
It is terrible. Yeah, they can all communicate, or we can communicate in energy form, but because they haven't got no solid form, there's no voice box, so you can't.
There's no vibration. There's no voice.
There's no vibration. There's no noise. No sound.
So we can't bloody hear them.
So we can't hear what you're trying to tell us, or whatever, or what we're asking them. Yeah. Because they haven't got the physical form to understand it. And I'm like, fucking hell, it's been going on for so fucking long. We still can't communicate properly. But by the end of it, it was almost like, I was like, fuck.
Here we go again. Guesswork,
blah, blah. You know what I mean?
Is it a film or is it a TV?
TV or anything else. But like I said before, they get tired like us. Yeah. They need food like us. So they eat food. So literally we would sit there and go, what does anybody fancy curry? And then they're all like, yeah, because they rub on your head. Yeah. So then you order a curry and they're all pizza, and they're all in it. So you try and eat your pizza, yeah, or whatever, with all these energy guys, and their hands are all in it because they take copies of it so they can consume it as well.
They take energy copies of it.
Yeah, and then by the end of it, like I said before, there was
chocolate, a lot.
Yeah, chocolate. Yeah, and you bits and pieces for your weekend. They're in that. They love that because it keeps them awake. Yeah, or they're getting tired. And I used to always say to them, "Does anyone? Do you need a rest?" And they'd be going, "Yeah." And the main one is female. Which is the females with females. She used to live in the back of my neck and here, and she used to go in sort of through here. And then down my back, and she used to live in the back of me, back down here. You feel it, I'm like, almost like when your veins is opening up. And it's like, and it would go down into the back of the neck, and she would sleep there, and then obviously we'd have a sleep, or they'd sleep for you, while we carry on doing what we're doing. So they're sleeping for you. So there'd be like this sharing of, they'd be eating for you or sleeping for you to keep you going what we're doing, because time really is irrelevant. So, you know, we could be doing something for say 3 or 4 days, but it's multi-light years in time out there. Yeah. So we used to do a lot of shifting and energies. And like we say, every time we used to do something or shift something, it's always relevant to and from wherever, whoever. And that's where that saying comes from.
Can I just ask you something while you're on the subject? Yeah. Wendy on the chat would like to know if you could go through the thinking with your eyes again, because it's popped into her mind for the last few days. Just wondering if you could mention it.
Hi, Wendy. It was when we was on one of our travels, and then basically we're sitting there in the lounge, and we got taught, because we had the sphere and the dome building on the outside of where we were, so you could see it building above us. And the way it was explained was, what we're building is what is in here is what you can see out there. Yeah. So what we was building in here was a whole brand new consciousness and a whole new universe that we was building in here. But like I used to say to you, what you can see out there is what is in here, because we're building it in here and you can see it out there. So that's when we got told or shown that your eyes are your brain, and this is where you store the knowledge of the universe. So this is like the roadmap of the universe and how it works in here, and your eyes are your brain. So your eyes do the looking and the thinking, and it's your brain, and it stores the knowledge in here, so it keeps this clear. And Nigel touched on it earlier, because like when we used to do a lot of stuff, if you try thinking like a human being of the stuff that we deal with when we're on a journeys, it blows your fucking mind. You never get to the answer. So I spoke about it before. So what we got shown is like inside here is like a web of all different thought patterns, humor, which is the big one, and everything else. You put this crazy thought pattern. So whatever problem or you want to think about, you open this up in its maximum sort of crazy sort of like outlook of anything, and then you put the question in, and as the question goes in to that absolutely crazy mix of humor and everything else, it gives you the answer like that, because it makes sense. if you try thinking about it in physics or what we've been taught, it will drive you fucking crazy to get to the answer. So you might just open the fucking crazy up to the maximum and literally put the question into the crazy, you will get your answer. So that sort of goes through into here, but that's the universe, what you're building out there. And we got told this, your eyes are the star drive of the universe. So these have got stars in your eyes, and we've seen it before, haven't we? I've looked at you, and I've gone, oh my god! And her eyes, her pupils are actually like white stars.
I know. I've seen you with white stars.
And white stars or black stars.
Or black stars.
So our whole pupils change to a star shape in her eyes. I mean, like we look at
stars that are moving as well.
Yeah, like that. Whoa.
Yeah.
But on that,
I think Mark's actually said before that he's actually
seen
seen our eyes. Our pupils have turned to stars.
To stars, and the pupils are stars. So yeah, and that was part of one of our journeys, and I spoke about it a long time ago, and I sat crying for weeks about that. And the whole journey, or the journey end, was on this mission, and it was horrendous. This mission was of sorting the universe out and everything out, and literally before it happened, all the energies was like going crazy, and before it happened, we went. Because I said to you, didn't I, on our travels, we used to go visiting friends in different universes. And because we're the children of the Royal Star family, yeah. So you've got 3 stars basically, and you can see that in the nebula. Actually, you've got the female star, so that's the female dragon, the first ever star, and she created that star. It was an energy, but a dragon energy. So she got all these sort of like the diamonds and carbon within the universe, and condensed it and breathed on it, which gave the first ever star. So
first ever light.
First ever light, and then she created a male star. They then created the children, the man, which is ourselves, the children. Star, and then created a starship after that for them to actually now all become one family and travel. And maybe where this family thing comes from. It was the first ever energy, which was like a dragon energy, which created the first ever light, the star. She then created a male star, and then they've created the family. So at that particular time, we felt like we was working for the royal family, but we're all children of the Royal Star family. Didn't understand at that particular point that there's a dark star royal family, which is everything we build is built in the dark star, but the dark star is a yellow star. And also, when it blends together, it's a yellow star, and it was almost like we could take off the yellow star cloaking, which kept us safe, and you could get it. And it was almost like a wire mesh. It was a yellow and like a weave, and you can actually put it down and put it back on again, and that's the yellow star. And the weaver's geb is yellow as well. Yellow is a real healing sort of colour.
Neutralizer,
especially for poisons and things like that. So we blended everything with that as well, didn't we? So yeah, so then that's where the starship comes from, and then we, as who we are, all of us, because we all come from the same source energy, which is female, and then the females created this. We're female, yeah. But we're male female to protect the female, so we protect the female, but we are female because the Abracadabra is female. That's what it means. Yeah. So and then on another travel, it's like we've got the Atlanteans. So the female are the Atlanteans, which is the mermaids. And Atlantis is almost like the fort or the universe around which then protects the Atlanteans, females within. Yeah, so the two are together as one. So we got shown that. So all of this came because of the fact of we've done it before, haven't we? We've been at parties. Yeah, and you've had a few bits and pieces, and if you gently push your eyeballs, just gently put the right pressure on, you can see star systems.
You can actually. I've done it before when I.
Yeah. If you put the right sort of pressure on don't go mad, but if you just put the right sort of pressure on, and then relax doing it, you can actually see star systems. It's almost like our path home, or who we are, like a journey.
Oh,
And
because of the third eye. Because you know that
also,
your eyes.
Also that pressure.
A pressure memory.
Pressure memory. Yeah, we've got senses, and then we've also got shown that we've got 9 senses, or the 9 senses, and there's a different starship for each one of the senses all coming together. And the 9 starships, so there's a sense for each one of them, and they all come together as one starship. Because I think somebody else said, who said, I mean, who knows? Somebody says the starship is the flower of the universe, which does make sense with a lot of the journey.
Which is the they call that gigantic ship. Is it the Jerusalem, the star, the something star, some big, huge?
Yeah, well, we
Star of Jerusalem.
We had this starship, didn't it? This starship started manifesting itself above us, and then the big ball, massive, and I was like, "Fucking hell, fuck it, we're home at last. We're going home. Let's get in it." So we literally we're putting all our energies into it, blah blah. And it just literally got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and I went, poof, and it was gone. I was like, "Shit!" But there's millions of different starships on the top of it, all different shapes on top, isn't it?
That was a mothership.
Yeah, it was honestly.
Yeah,
Motherfucking shit. When fucking off, fucking everything, when it fucking just went, poof, and went off.
Yeah,
but we on a journey, because I only talk about the journeys we go on. Yeah, so I'll just share the journeys that we see and journeys that we go on. But we all come from the original energy, so that's why I think we're all one. Not the same one, but individuals of the same one. And it's the flower coding of the universe which makes us all individual energies of the same one. And then the flower coding also goes into the star coding, and then so every one of us, every female, has got a star that is her star, and that comes through from the flower coding, the star coding, and then comes down. And then there's also, where we are here, there's like a star drive. So I used to be sitting there quite a lot, and a lot of earths, or whatever you want to call it, used to come underneath me, bump the floor, like boom, 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 proper. But they all had overheat problems, or spinning too fast, or this or that, and they used to have problems, and they used to come underneath, didn't they? And you feel it, the whole house is going boom, boom, boom underneath. And it's all different earths, or different planets, or universes, or whatever. And they all had the same problem, overheat problem, or spinning too fast. And then we used to slow them down or change their codes. I used to put codes on the bottom of my feet, didn't I? Yeah, like a positive and a negative, like an energy. So I could stand on top of them and rebalance them. And then they'd be gone. Thank you very much, and gone. So this is why I'm saying about standing off. Yeah, because when we go on the travels, you can look out and all the houses come disconnected and start bouncing around. Yeah, you can actually get the houses, connect your energy to them, and push the houses out of the way. Yeah, we've been in the house before, weren't we? And literally all the trees and everything else, they all become a living energy, and you just push them all out of the way. And then the energy guys are out there trying to move things out of the way as you're going along, as you're traveling. But the new universe is all the ones we're dealing with. They all spin anti-clockwise because the other ones were spinning clockwise. So they're all spinning, again, tighter and tighter and causing friction. And I think this is why when we got taken to Planet Purple, which was like our real home, and the animals on Planet Purple have all been reinstated. That got I think this is probably where the Noah's Ark comes from. I don't think it's probably an ark is whatever, but it's almost like everything to do with starships. And it's almost like we gathered every now and again. We used to gather everybody off the planet and flood it to cool it
because it was overheating.
It was overheated. It's an Earth-looking planet, but it had a purple tinge, and it must have been to do with the amount of heat that was in, and it was off balance. There was the energies in it was off balance. Something had been pinched. And we put it all back together again, and there's all billions of different timelines within it. So all them timelines will come one timeline within it to balance it. So no contamination can come through from the different timelines. It was like billions of one planet copied into one, but the timelines are all slightly out, like this. So all these timelines are still slightly out. So, and then if something decayed on one of them, that decay was coming through the rest of them to this one. So it was a case of taking them timelines and then squaring the timelines, then making one timeline. Maybe that's where the timeline thing comes from. And make the one timeline, but that one timeline has billions of timelines within it.
Isn't it funny we call them lines? See, when you say timeline, you can understand how people get the linear business going. Because when we see a line, like a line on paper, or a line you're running down a track, or you're driving, you know, whereas the line to me is a really limiting, extremely limiting concept of
sticking to the line.
You know, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite weird as well.
Sorry, go on. So you not see a line as infinite, because a line can go on and on and on.
Oh, yeah,
couldn't it? So you could have it.
It was like,
and a line can shift and change. You know, a line can be like that and go.
Yeah, it was like
that's because you're using your brain, though. You're using your lateral brain.
It was the same planet, but it copied into itself too many times.
A line.
The average person would just go, "Here's a line," and now in everyday use. You know, like if you open a book, a line starts there and ends there. I'm on the road. It finishes when I get off the road. I don't think people, the line, the figure 8, right? The infinity.
Yeah. Each one is a universe.
People necessarily are doing that.
Yeah. We think each timeline. What I think about is each one is an individual universe.
I could get with that. I mean, there's so many individual everything.
All these universes, they've all been. That goes back to carbon as well. They've been copied that many times. They've gone hard. Kadoosh. So it's almost like on the old way of doing it, there used to be like double parallels. So so you'd have a single parallel, and then you do another parallel, and put the two together, so it becomes a double parallel. And then that would then copy into another double parallel. So it's 4 parallels together. Boom. From that, you can copy out from that. Dum, 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 and make as many parallels as you want, because this is like the mother one. Yeah. But what happened was, it was copy. It was on my journey. It was copying the 4, 4, 4, 4, 4 until it went bang, rock hard, solid. And this is when a lot of the energies, or the first, used to come to see me, because a lot of the physical forms have been blew apart by it, and you could see the carbon in them. It was like they had a green tinge in all their skin, and they'd been blew apart because it had gone hard. But then there's a lot of these universes that were blowing themselves up on purpose to try and release the energies, because the energies were trapped within it. So all the energies, but it kept copying 4, 4, 4, 4, 4 all the time, and copying in until it went rock hard. So the energies were all trapped within this rock hard. And probably what we are now, it's rock hard. Yeah, it's been copied that many times, it's gone clunk. And then the energies are locked within that copy of the carbon. It was like, I say carbon, it's a carbon copy. So then we then started using, I don't even know if it's a real thing, we started using a white carbon to do copies, where it does the same thing as for copying, but it doesn't have that binding agent to make it go solid. So we're using a white carbon, which was formatted through word and a knowledge to do the same thing, but not to actually go rock hard.
Right.
So I don't know if white carbon's a thing or not. I don't know, but we was using that.
I don't know. Well,
to balance it,
you have to look into that. Yeah, there would be some, or the sister or the brother or whatever is the opposite, or the parallel, or the what do you call it? The duality.
Yeah. Well, and then I'll be sitting there, and then what happens is, I think it's the weavers that bring them in. And I end up like the cushions and everything you'd see physical forms within cushions. So the cushions would take on the physical form of the energies that want me to catch my attention. So I used to sit there and talk and chat to them and blah, 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 and say, you're not on your own. I understand what's happened, blah, blah, blah. And then they'd sit all around me, that whole house covered in them. And then I seen one of you, and in this cushion, actually. That won't make that one. cushion, and then I looked at the cushion, and I could see.
Which cushion is
I
it?
could see her in it, coming out. Her energy coming out. No, you're probably sitting on it anyway.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. While you're looking for the cushion, I've got to go, my lovelies, I'm afraid. So
That's all right, no worries. Thank you very much.
Good seeing you,
Lots of
Tess.
love.
Bye. See you later.
See you later.
Bye,
See you
darling.
later. I said at the time, because I was talking, because there is a consciousness of the universe and it's female. Yeah. So then
I need to go just for a tiny few. I'll be right back, okay?
Oh, no, you will.
No worries.
Can't get rid of Terry that easy, no way. and then I used to take the energy, and then literally open the energy up. So I used to say, give me your energy if you want to pass me energy to me. So they used to pass the energy to me, and I used to take a strand of the energy, of their energy, in my hand, and I used to open it like that. And look, I was cine film, and that was their consciousness of who they were in a previous life. And I used to hold it up and then push it up to the consciousness of the universe, which was an old Mother Earth. And I used to push it all the way up, and then she used to then collect all the different consciousnesses of the universe, and then keep them safe. And then any energies
that don't get lost,
anything that's been blasted apart or lost, she would then collect all the energies until it become a complete. So then it becomes a physical consciousness of everything. So it was a case of this battle that we went on, or something that went on. What happened was the all the energies of the universe gave everything of themselves to us. Everything. So they gave all of the energy for us to come and do whatever we needed to do. I mean, all that was left was the consciousness of our old selves. We left the consciousness left. We brought all this energy with us to do what we had to do, and that's when I realised then all the universe is literally gave everything to this cause, and all that was left were these strands of consciousness. But then, funny enough, all these strands of consciousness become then the consciousness of the universe, of all of us, plants, trees, animals, everything. So then it all become this consciousness out of all our consciousnesses we left behind. So we brought the energy with us, and that we left the consciousness of all the energies in the universe within Mother Nature, or to look onto. Then what happened was this consciousness created its own thought pattern. So it's a consciousness of the universe, so you can connect with animals. So we can sit there and talk to a pigeon outside, or a seagull, and they're rubbing you on the head, because it's one consciousness, and it's probably where it comes from. It's one consciousness. And once I realised what had gone on, I sat there crying for days of what the universe has given, and the responsibility that I thought I had, and what we've got to actually now put all that back together again, to put the physical back with the consciousness that created itself. And that's when we was messing around with Abracadabra, when we hit it with the atom we was doing, and it just went boom. And that's when I heard a voice in my head a voice came to me. It was like, we want you to be the consciousness of Abracadabra. And I heard a male voice, and you at the same time heard a female voice, but the energies that we was working with were also gobsmacked, because they'd never heard it either. So then that's when we started sort of working within the consciousness of Abracadabra, and being the consciousness of it, or whatever. But it's all of us, because we're all the same. We all come from the same energy. Yeah. So it's a female energy. Yeah. So we're all from the female of the universe. But the only thing is, what we're in is very male universe. Now, we had a male Earth outside that I weren't very happy with, I remember. And we dealt with that as well, because it was like a fake sort of Earth, or it's been stolen, or I feel we gave it away for them to prove themselves, to see what they do with it. Yeah, because time's running out. Yeah. And then obviously it's why I said about demanifestation. It's the case of standing back. Let's all stand back for a few weeks and just let it we can still discuss everything, but we discuss it in past tense from like saying that 3 steps back.
Yeah.
Looking in. And a lot of our journeys, we look in, you know, and the universe is fucking massive, you know, because we get shown how big it's been built into and the expanse of it, and it's for space travel. But the way it works is like when we're doing timelines or when it pulls over the top of us, past and future roll over the top of us. It rolls this way, so we can be sitting there and you got past on one side, say future, and then it rolls over the top, so we're not moving anywhere, but it's bending space and time around us without actually moving everywhere, and it comes over the top. And then with the tree of
life in the center of the whole
thing, and it does this over the top, so you've got past and future from 3 to say 4 different dimensions or whatever, and it comes in over the top of us, so it's doing this over us. So it's almost like the starship travels through the universe, but it's always creating the universe in front of it, because you're not actually using the universe up. So it's around you all the time and creating the new one around you. But then that all comes together, past and future comes together, so it becomes future, which is bizarre. Because we live in the present, or the universe opening is the present. It's in the present, which present means gift as well, doesn't it? It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So the present is future. So we stand sort of where we are, and the expanding positive future, which has already been calculated to who we become, as that +1's out, we change here. So it's almost like, if you can imagine,
as it expands out, it's changing the here.
It changes here. So this can change, because our history of the positive expanding universe has already been written for all of us, to the +1. So as it +1s, it changes here. Clink, 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 clink. Because we're already in the future in energy form, but our solid form with our energy form here can evolve. So the universe can evolve, the planet can evolve, it all becomes organic because the +1 of our expanding universe, which is endless. As that +1s, we +1 here. So it changes the universe, it changes the planet. Clink, clink, clink.
And every part of.
So we live in the present, controlled by our expanding positive future, which already happened. Clink, 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 clink. And it works like that. It
stops any ties to the past as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. So then you think to yourself, what we're going to do with all the rubbish? Well, because we don't live in the past, we live in future. Because we live in the future, controlled by our expanding future, there is no past. So things can evolve because it just changes and it's gone. Chunk, 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 chunk. It doesn't leave anything behind. It just evolves in organic form. And this is why the planet we got shown before, it had been copied that many times, it had gone hard, bang, solid. So of course, by understanding that and releasing the energy, or the organic energy, so the whole planet and the universe is organic, it can evolve because it's growing. It's a living thing. But the future and the expanding future, +1 into the future constantly, just changes the present. And then that gets rid of all the past and the rubbish. Because we used to say, what are we going to do with all this fucking rubbish? But the thing is, it's the universe that it becomes organic. So basically, it's we, because we're all part of the universe. So as we organically advance, so does the universe and around us, all one. And it does this. But it's the expanding future, which is endless, to the +1, which then changes the present where we are. That's
what we've been shown.
That's what we've been shown.
Hey, do you know what? I was just remembering that we were going to do demanifesting today. And I'm wondering if anybody watching is going, are they going to do this demanifesting thing?
But without good at it, it's done and finished.
We're up to 2 hours now.
But that's what the demanifestation is. It's like Elijah was saying, it's stepping back from the bonfire. You look at the bonfire as the sun, or the center of this universe, and it's a case of standing back from this universe. We've got the new Abracadabras standing on the outside. Now, the outside points we've got with the new format, it's the 1, the 5, and the 7. Yeah. And they add up to 13. Yeah. Now, the thing is, 13, unlucky for some, or lucky for some, or looking in for some. That's what I think it means. It means looking in for some, because we stand on the outside looking in for some, as in watching what's going on. Yeah. Because the thing is, I can put that to the only thing with the Abracadabra clock, it's open at the bottom. Yeah. And there's no such thing as coincidences. It's just like, you know what I mean? It's like, so on the on the new one,
I see a key in that, and we're all when we fit together, we're the key. Where that hole is open at the bottom.
Yeah, see, if I zoom in there, all bins. This is what is bizarre on calculations. All I'm doing is taking the highest from the lowest from the 6 outlet. But this is on the open at the bottom of Abracadabra. Look, every one of them spheres is the same calculation. 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3. So them ones there are the only ones that are the same on the spheres all the way through. And that's the open point of the original clock. The 38, as it adds across, lines in with the 38 on the Abracadabra clock. When you calculate up here, you've got 12. You do your calculations from your 6, which is 6 and 6 is 12. 6 and 6 is 12. 12 because you've took your highest from your lowest, then you add up to close your clock. So it's 12, 12, and then the 2 12s are 24, 24. On the original clock, you got 42 at the top, but it's just mirrored of 24. I think Huna was talking this week about it's the activation of the 24.
24 DNA.
DNA. Well, there's your 24s again. You've got your 24s, 24 on your 199. Yeah. And the calculations, I mean, all I've done is took the highest from the lowest. I weren't looking for anything. I was just looking for the numbers that I know. So all I've done is take the highest from the lowest, from the 6, back into the 1, which is 5, 4, 3, yeah. And then when you get to here, look, it's 1, 1, 0, yeah, 2, 2, 0, 3, 3, 0, because 33 Abracadabras within one clock, 2, 2, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, yeah, 2, 2. So you think yourself, wow, there's all your 11s and your 22s coming again, and your 33s, yeah. There, and then when you look at the top calculation, which is like, I'm not touching nothing. Yeah, you've got 5 22s. Yeah, so if you 5 times 22, it gives you 110. Well, there's your 110 on the outlook, 110. Yeah, that's 110. So your 5 of them 22s is your 110.
1, 2, 3, 4.
5 times that gives you 110. There's your 1, 1 over 110 on the out. Yeah. And then you go, okay, let's go 3 times the 110. Yeah, which is that figure, which is 330. And then you look at the 330 on the map, look.
Lines up with those.
There's your 330, look, on your 30 line. And you've got 30 degrees of separation in between on a 12-hour clock in between each one. So it's a symbol of that. And then I calculate. Then I added up across here, because this is your 22 line of the original Abracadabra clock, which is 11 and 11, which is 22 again. So that comes together quite nicely. Yeah. And then when you add them up on this one, all the top one here is 10 out. Yeah, but different numbers to the bottom. Only these two that are exactly the same. Bottom 2 that's open are the same. This adds up to the 10 out still. It's the same as the bottom on the 22, but to get to that point. But it adds up because you've subtracted. You just add from the 6 and you just add all them figures up, and it's 24, 24, even though they're different numbers. And then you actually 24 there, 2 24s, because that was 24 there, and 24 at the top, 2 24s are 48. And then you've got literally 24 to 48, which is 72 again, which is the same as your 12 6s, 72. 72 and 72 is 144, which apparently people have been talking about. And that's the same as a chessboard between black and white and the grey. It's balanced between the two, the holy grey all. eternal life and youth. So it's like there's no such thing as circumstances, but here again, you know, the mad coincidences. Sorry, the 22s and the 11s are showing up all on the right points. So then all I did was then I looked at these points of the 0 points, which is the standout point or completion, and I just drew a line between them all.
Right.
Yeah, and don't forget when you're looking at this clock, it's a sphere. You know, you're looking at that in a sphere shape. So that isn't a flat clock; it's a sphere. That works in a sphere format. It's going spinning. So each one of these probably is part of a universe, or where we've come from, or part of location stars. Yeah, that's why we're all who we are, but we're all different points of the planet at the minute, because we're all relevant to and from the location stars, which sits in the star drive of the planet, the Earth. They carry a star drive in the center, and that star drive is where the universe locks in and locks the stars in through each planet.
Holds it in place.
Stops it, locks it across, and locks it through. Called location stars. So yeah, so this is why I'm talking about demanifesting. It's a case of the outside ones, which is the 1, the 5, and the 7, yeah, or whatever. It's just standing on the outside.
The furthest point.
Yeah,
they've got the most.
Yeah.
Universes going out, I suppose, aren't they?
Yeah. But that's on your 22 line, and your 11 is 22 through. Yeah, and then obviously you got this line here. So yeah, and it's they add up to 13, looking for some or looking in for some. So some of us are looking in, keeping an eye on what's going on with the rest of the riffraff. So of course you've got these other figures or calculations through here. So maybe these are codes for different universes where we brought the riffraff in.
Yeah,
into the Earth in the centre, gave him our format to prove himself before the new expanding universe, like I've been talking about, opens up.
Okay.
So that's what I mean about demanifesting. Stand on the outside looking in, wherever the outside is. I mean, this is just one example of stand on the outside looking. Yeah. Because the thing is, because these people are so destructive.
You come to visit, and I'll do it with you if you want.
Oh, he's talking to somebody else.
I've muted him.
Yeah, so the fact of is, while we still think in 3D as being human, I think of myself as sneaky aliens, because we're not human. It doesn't make sense. And do you know why?
Because we squint at the sun.
Well, and also, one of the defense systems for apes or that sort of line is eye contact. Now, eye contact means threat. Yeah, so we do everything on eye contact. Yeah, we talk with our eyes, so eye contact. But within the ape world, yeah, this means threat and fight. Yeah, we don't do that. Yeah, so this is why I think about the so-called we've come from apes, because apes eye contact and communication, eye contact is seen as a threat and as a territory thing, and they'll react with that. It's like, I was talking to somebody a long time ago and worked in the zoo, and he said they never make contact with the apes or monkeys because they see that as a threat, territorial threat, and attack. Yeah. But we don't do that. We talk with our eyes. We communicate with our eyes. So that doesn't really make sense. That does not make sense with who we are. But some of the wrong ones, I've tested it. You get them eye contact, yeah, and they get all and they're off. So
they get very uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable. So try it with people this week. Eye contact and keep eye contact.
Oh, I do, and people do get uncomfortable with it.
They get uncomfortable with it. Yeah, they get uncomfortable with it. And then they'll hold it for so long, but then they do this. Yeah. Swerve ball, because they've got to break contact. But we're not like that. Yeah, ours is all eye contact and talking with the eyes.
Yeah, contest. That's what we're
that's
doing.
why I think
yeah, I mean, there's also, I mean, gosh, I had to go away and talk for a bit.
Yeah, I muted you, mate.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it was it's my future son-in-law. He's having to deal with 3D reality and cars and stuff, and I'm going to help him. But when you and I just picked up, I mean, I'd listened to all the stuff about the clocks. Brilliant. It's like, and I think it is time for us to step back, let it go,
stand back. Yeah.
But regarding that, I just caught the end of that eye contact.
Yeah,
I've always done this, but the person who unplugged me from all the Matrix and my childhood trauma and all this crap, lovely woman, Becky Barron. Anyway, but she said, you're carrying some stuff from that early childhood that you were taught. And I can remember now my dad telling me, don't look them in the eye. And I don't like, my dad had a whole different view of the world. And I used to be a jockey. I used to ride jump races, steeplechase. And within that old-fashioned system of, because that's a very old and antiquated way of living, because it was all class system then. I was told, don't look at the trainer in the eye, don't look at the owner in the eye. And then I had this ride at Cheltenham, and the trainer was talking to me, and we made total eye contact. And I looked at him, and he looked at me, and he went, well, I suppose you should win today. And I was like, okay, I want to. And that was the moment that I realized. Now I'm only remembering this. It's a realization from memory, because when I got unplugged, I realized then that I'd never looked my boss, the racehorse trainer, for 3 years. I worked for him and rode loads of horses, but it's like I'd never looked him in the eye until that point. And then once I looked him in the eye, he said, well, I suppose you can win this time. And he was very gruff, very old-fashioned, very antiquated. But when I looked him in the eye, I think he felt very uncomfortable. And
definitely.
That's why he said something that I'd never heard before. You can win this time. And I did. I won the race, and I at the end of that race, I went into the winners' enclosure in Cheltenham, which is where I was born, and I knew that I was done with racing, because it was too antiquated. It was being run by these people that you couldn't look in the eye, because if you look them in the eye, they're just going to get rid of you. So I walked away from that life. But when you were saying looking people in the eye, nobody is allowed to look the royal family in England in the eye. Nobody.
Really?
Oh yeah. The common
He'd see the slits.
No,
Better listen.
But the common people,
like lines in her eyes.
I mean, I had a friend who knows somebody that got an MBE, and they went up and they were, knighted and all that stuff. But she looked up, and the guy who was, bringing her forward, a long line of people getting their MBE or whatever, put his hand on her shoulder, and he'd already told her that you don't look her in the eye, and she was raising her head, and he put his hand on her shoulder, and she looked down and walked away.
Boobs.
To me, that'd be an I dare you. I'd have
Look at
to.
her boobs.
Oh, many people have, and once they do, I think Mark Atwood met Prince Philip and looked him in the eye, and he got really uncomfortable. Both of them got uncomfortable, but
because they
his
wonder
weakness.
if we're reading them.
It's like, oh my God, he's that. And that's it. You see, this is why. I mean, God, when I joined this call earlier, I was saying I meet everybody eye to eye. That's the person but I can remember now that incident was the one that really just said to me, okay, that's who I am. You know, and it's very important. I mean,
Amy.
I'm going to see my son-in-law fairly soon, so I'm going to have to leave. But
fine. Yeah,
That's
lovely.
all right, no worries.
He's like 6'4" and I'm like 4'6". Well, I'm 5'6". But it's like
I thought that when he said it's a jockey.
Yeah, I'm 5'6". I'm actually 5'6", and I'm very big down under, and we're not talking Australia.
Yeah. 6 foot in high heels.
Oh my God.
but it's hard to look at him in the eye. And then we had a big heart-to-heart, me and my daughter and him, not long ago, and he sat down over here, just right next to me in my room, and because he was sat, we were eye to eye, and I looked him in the eye, and it was like, oh my gosh, he really loves my daughter. He loves my daughter so much, and I could see it straight away. And I was like,
and that's why I say that's where your brain is in there.
Yes. Did you know that your brain? We're only talking about this with my son, and he said to me, you know, when the brain's forming, that it pushes parts of itself out to create your eyeballs. Because he was talking about the pineal, right, which is another eye. The only difference with your pineal is it doesn't have a lid or lashes, but it's composed of everything else that a human regular eye is. So we have 3 eyes, and the brain forced 2 of us. So your eyes are actually extensions of your brain. Like, I always knew that. You knew they're connected, right? I always thought they're connected, but they're actually the very same thing.
Yeah,
made out of the same cell.
Yeah. We're talking about
you look at things so differently, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about indigenous people, and the Native American Indians didn't like having their photograph taken because they said the eyes are the soul.
Yeah.
So yes, I mean, I see it now. It. Okay.
And the pineal being a
third eye.
Pilot. The
wide
pilot.
Open. Yeah, wide open.
We got shown that the pineal is also a star drive, and you carry a star drive in here, and you also carry one in each eye as well. So you carry a male and female in each eye. Yeah. Okay. But each eye you've got a male and female balance, and it's like a star drive with the universe within it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. And that the DM.
So they were telling the truth, the energy people.
What did you want to say, Amy?
Yeah, you were saying something, Amy.
You got your button on.
You mute.
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 Yeah, what were we saying before? I was going to say the eyes are the window to the soul, but just something that you were saying before. It's gone from me now.
Dogs communicate, especially dogs.
It was about the Queen. There's actually a compilation of children meeting her, and the reactions are quite on point, really, I think.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, look at that.
Oh, I've not seen that.
I'll send you over after we finish. So
yeah.
Me too.
It's a shocker. But you just think it's the same as when somebody walks in a room and a dog reacts. You just think, well, hang on a second. What do they know?
Yeah.
Well, dogs work on pictures. So do we. That's why we're all good storytellers, because we see the picture in our head, and we just then
as you're talking, you got that picture in your head. You're actually projecting it out to everybody.
You're just projecting that picture out. Dogs are the same. That's why you don't train a dog; you train the owner. It's because if you've got fear of dogs and meeting other dogs, you build the picture in the head of your walk before you go. The dog takes that picture on. Babies do the same thing as well. They take the picture on, and they've got that picture in the head, and then they react to that problem because they've got the picture that you've posted to them. Yeah.
I gotta go now. But,
lovely night. Thank you very much.
I gotta go. All right.
Absolutely.
And
nice
we'll finish. Bless you all. I mean, listen to
Yeah,
music. And
Lovely to meet you.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, you too.
Yeah,
You too.
yeah, it's lovely.
And we're talking about dogs having pictures in their head. So, you know, it reminds me of the old vaudevillian comedian who said, did you know my dog's got no nose? And the other person says, oh, how does he smell? And he said, bloody awful.
It's like how a polar bear hide.
Humor and music. Laugh.
Yeah,
let's
definitely.
Hey, next week or the week after or whenever I can come back, let's have taken time to step back from the fire and laugh and make music or listen, you know, enjoy music.
Because the whole universe is being built with humor.
Yeah,
it's
I agree.
Security. It's little ting, ding, 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 ding. We, as we talk tonight, we're building the universe for the future. And all them little bits of all opposite.
Yeah. Abracadabra to speak it.
Yeah.
Lots of love.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, there we go. Leave button.
You can never
I
leave.
can read. We get such a good group on here, don't we? It's always got a good balance of, you don't quite know, because I've never met him before. I didn't know what, you know, because everyone has a different strength, different interests, different, you know, and we're all from different places, you know, so my life is very different.
Again, you see, like we're in different places and that's why there's more females than there is males, because there's only so many male protectors for the females out there. Yeah. And each female is a star or a location star. So by being at all different points of the universe or on the planet, it lets that location star lock it all together.
Yeah.
It's time to remove the location stars, and stand back.
Yeah, I agree. That's my whole life is
we still talk about it, but it's having that
I stood back from life. There was a lot of things, you know, that take you out at the knees and punch you. You know, if I had a dick, I'm sure I got dick punched a few times. But,
here's one for you. This is true. On one of the journeys, this was right back in the day. It was like when all this comes on you, it's when you turn from being a child into an adult. So I says it's almost like back in the day you was on a bike ride, and all of a sudden, ding, 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 the bell goes. From just playing with your friends, all of a sudden there's a girl involved, and one of you's off into your first relationship. Yeah. So there's a day where you've gone on your bike ride, but then the bell rings because you meet the thingy, and then that's when things stop. But that's a sexual energy, I think, what also has been taken control of. And that's when everything starts really coming on you.
I never thought that.
And it's the ding, ding, ding of that bike ride. Yeah. You're going out playing with your mates, and all of a sudden you end up with a girlfriend, or vice versa. Yeah. And it's the ding, ding, ding. So if I can tell anybody to do the same thing, everybody's ding, ding, ding is a different point in time, at the same point. Yeah. So all emotions and everything come from that ding, ding, ding. So if you look at before all of that, you're just enjoying yourself and having fun and having a laugh. But the ding, ding, ding brings a whole heap of shit on you. Yeah. So the ding, ding, ding is like put yourself back on the other point, the other side of the ding, 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 understanding what it means. Yeah. And don't ring the bell.
Yeah.
And then remove it. And it removes that adulthood and puts you back into that childhood. Yeah, of their innocence and the beauty of it all. Yeah.
And everything's great.
And everything is great. Yeah. And then you can stand as an adult with a child's mind. And then that's what opens up the imagination again.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think taking
and that's putting yourself back on that good times before the bad times.
Yeah. So try it. Just sit with yourself. And it doesn't matter when it is, but there's a ding, 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 and it's a case of taking yourself back just before the ding, taking control of the ding and then removing it all. So you've become that child, but an adult of that child. It removes all of that sexual emotion, which ties you into all of this crap.
Yeah.
I've got goosebumps.
Yeah.
Well,
And that's one thing I noticed.
If you go from child to ding ding adult and then go back again, this is nearly like where we were talking last week about, to find the middle ground, you need to go to both extremes, right? So if you were innocent and then you became adult, then you kind of know where to position yourself, you know? So I think, well, for me, when I realized there was these extremes and they weren't just like bad luck or, oh, I fucked up or I'm not clever or I screwed that up or whatever. It's just experience in life. So you must go to both extremes before you can find your middle ground. So I think what you're saying for me is,
and it's part of learning who you are and learning who you're not.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah, and it's putting the two together. It's putting that innocence of a child and that on
with the intelligence of and not the academia, but the intelligence. Yes.
The knowledge you've gained, health and safety.
That removes that corruption out the way of what there was in power with at that time. And it takes that corruption out. It's like it's the same thing as the key situation we spoke about. You get one at 18 and one at 21. Yeah, it's the same thing. It's two keys. You know what I mean? So like, it's taking control of them keys and them keys as well. Yeah, it's like you can't just throw them away. That's why we always, when we finish, we always take all the negative we've been dealing with. Even tonight, we take all of that as a sphere, and then we absorb it all, and then create the beautiful out of it.
Right.
As in relevant to and from wherever.
So this is a demanifestation thing, isn't it? As well, right?
It is.
So when people are watching, I'm thinking people who really want the exact essence of what you were saying about demanifestation. That's the only reason I bring this up, so people watching will go, oh, right, you know, because you take information in and sometimes you gloss over, right, because you hear stuff and it's wow, and your brain goes off thinking about it and you miss the next sentence, you know, because you're not. So I think putting the emphasis where it's not telling people where to look or how to think, but it's saying, well, this is a key, because there's one way of doing anything. Demanifestation would be processes and different for you to the next person.
Exactly. And
we are all different,
and we're all part of the same starship, but we all carry individual parts of the starship, and the starship manifests itself by us all being together as one, so no one gets left behind.
Light up like a Christmas tree when we all do get together.
So it's a case of, you know, we're all individual parts of it. We've taken to pieces, and all the information, films and everything else in history, we wrote this in energy form before we stepped in and to guide them along the way. Take them keys. Don't leave things out. That's why we always take all the negative and then
maybe this would be a good thing at night before you go to bed, maybe, like, and you could say to kids, what happened today, instead of just look at all the good things and be all grateful and gratitude, which is good, right? Absolutely paramount. However, demanifesting is a way to let go too before you go into dreamland. So maybe imagine if we're talking and there's a young mum who's really keen on teaching her children survival techniques, emotional survival techniques, where you could say to a child at night, okay, imagine you've got a big balloon or a big ball, your most favorite, prettiest ball.
A love bubble.
Everything in. And you don't need to look at it.
We used to get sent love bubbles by the energy people.
Yeah.
And they used to send them in.
I used to do stuff in bubbles.
And they used to send love bubbles to us.
In a bubble.
And they used to go pop, pop, pop all round us, didn't they? Wicked. I'm like, we're under attack. No, it's not. It's a love bubble. Oh, thank you for helping.
Well, I mean, bubbles are pretty cool though, aren't they? You refer to bubbles a lot.
They are cool.
I like bubbles as well because they're a bit magical. You look at kids, you blow bubbles. There's as many adults.
I love blowing bubbles.
Yeah.
Going, oh, look, not bubbles. They might not say it, but they're looking, right? So maybe the bubble concept. Well, we come from an egg, you know, there's spheres everywhere, you know, the circle is a natural, it's you can get the most surface on a ball than you can on any other shape. So maybe the key there is using certain symbols in manifestation. Do you know what I mean? Or certain symbols in positive thought.
And that ties in with the zeros at the outer edge of that abracadabra clock.
There you go.
Because
there's zeros,
zero in a zero.
So a zero is a bubble. It's just a one-dimensional
we also got shown as well.
One dimension.
One as well, isn't it?
It's like we also got shown anything within the 6, which is if anybody goes back to the original Abracadabra PDFs and forgot them, if you look on there.
Judith's here.
Oh, Judith's here.
Hi, Judith. What's up, girl?
She got rid of the grandies.
Yeah.
I got a Zoom to do.
Hi.
All I can see is a name. Judith Murphy is connecting to audio. Well, that's what mine says.
Well, give her my love. I have to go. I'm not feeling very
you?
well. It's
Lots of love, Terry.
Terry. Thank you.
Much love and bubbles
so
to
much.
you. We'll just send lots of bubbles.
Love bubbles.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we used to get past love bubbles to us.
Oh.
So it's probably hello, Judith.
Judy.
Hello, Judith.
Hi.
Look what we've got.
What have we all got?
We've got our own light bulb. We're not being outshone by you anymore. But when we moved out from our old place,
Judy's on the phone as usual.
when we moved out from our old place, these light bulbs is where the energies used to connect to, and they used to connect from the light bulb to us. So they always be above us, and the energies used to be always in here. They're collecting here. We look like fucking weirdos talking to a light bulb, but like we understand. We've kept the light bulbs. So these are the light bulbs where we used when we used to live in a box, and these are the light bulbs that we still are traveling with. So we've kept them. Because we didn't want to leave them for anybody else because of what they meant to us, and all the travels we've been on with them. It's almost like a star as well. Yeah. So we bought both of them with us, haven't we? I didn't want to leave them in the house because on one of the journeys I was asked to unclip the light bulb and then take it for a walk out because there's a nasty parallel that was that was being dumped. And they asked me to take the light bulb. So as I took this light bulb out from the thingy, the energy wrapped itself around my wrist, like holding on, while we went off on one of the walkabouts. Because she was really upset.
Because you don't want to look potty, like walking around. I'm taking my light bulb for a walk.
Yeah, I did put it in my handbag.
I don't take drugs. I don't do drugs. Just some negative energy, just getting rid of it.
Can I just say it's mine?
It's a nutty light bulb guy. I'm gonna do a little meme now.
All the stuff from Australia.
Yeah, a good friend of ours in Australia. She sent us these for keeping your beer in. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Holders.
Oh, lovely.
But we keep
the light bulbs in them.
We keep the light bulbs in them.
Of course you do.
Yeah,
keep them safe. Keep them safe.
Yeah,
they're
perfect, aren't they?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, we didn't want to leave it behind.
Stubby cooler. It's a stubby cooler.
Stubby cooler. Is that what they're called?
A stubby cooler. A stubby is a beer, 375ml beer in glass. You can also fit a tally, which is like a big one.
But so Joe feels at home.
It's a slouch hat. You look like who was that?
You look like Kevin and Perry when you fold
The village idiot. The village idiot. Yeah, so that's what demanifestation means. It just means self-worth in who we all are.
Yeah. And resigning, giving up the ideas of who we are, the expectations of who we are, to live up to some unknown expectation. Usually, everyone's just running around trying to fit in with society,
Yeah.
which society is a big fucking joke. There is no such thing. There's just consumerism, television. It's all bullshit. There is no society. It's only community and togetherness and connectedness. Like society was a way that they could go, but you just don't look like that girl, or you don't look like that guy, or you're not whatever. It's this whole idea in our head of this invisible society. What are they going to think of you? What are the, what blah, 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 blah. One day I remember thinking, and I thought, there's no such fucking thing. It's just a big
there isn't. No.
bullshit.
Yeah.
It's just bullshit.
It's all
and then you become, you then take on the bounce of who they expect you to be. So
some invisible weird
then
shit.
changes to that.
And nobody knows what it is. No wonder people are confused. They're trying to be something that they don't even know what it is. It's a malleable
life
to start off with.
It's a hard work.
Yeah, it's hard work. It's hard work. And, and to stand on the outside looking in, it just makes life a lot easier, because we all, like I said before, we all carry parts of the starship. Yeah, and the starship is the flower of the universe. We all carry parts of it. You can't run away from negativity, so you have to absorb it all in the love bubbles and absorb it, because we can take that in, and then
raise the vibration.
By absorbing that negativity, we can convert that into the beauty. Like I said before, you can't create beauty out of beauty. You can only create beauty out of negativity. How do you know if something good unless it's something bad? And that's why usually, I've said this before, dogs that's had a bad past appreciate when you give it a good home. It doesn't change. It doesn't become nasty to us or to its new owners. It appreciates its new environment because it can appreciate bad times. Where sport little Rusty Roo, he doesn't know what bad times are until he got arrested by the dog ward and spent the night in doggy jail. So he does, and we thought, no, you can stay there in doggy jail for the night, and then you appreciate what good times are, because he's had that, like, oh my god, you know what I mean? Oh my god, but as I say, we're the only people that, and by is when we finished our last journeys, we used to say clear ship, because we are in a ship and we are flying around. We are the ship, we are the vessel. And whatever we sit on, we fly. Wherever we go, we fly. It's like if you were sitting with us and was on one of our journeys, you'd be like, what the fuck is going on here? Because like, whoa, because
I think it's really cool that you can share a journey. You can share the same.
We can share the journey. I shouldn't say that. Like
pretty wicked. But that you can share and see the same things.
Yes.
I always thought that tripping and stuff like that was more an individual. You're having your party in your head and somebody else is having a party in their head. I didn't know that you could go like together, or if it's just a Juicy and Lucy thing.
Yeah.
Well, no, because people have been with us when we've been doing a thing in the past, and they're seeing the same shit as what's going on around us, or they've been with us on the travel.
Wow. See, maybe that's part of your job.
Yeah.
Do some crazy shit and take people with you, right?
Yeah.
You can sell it as a journey. You know how you have whale watching or you have wine tasting.
It scares the fucking life out of them. They're like, what the fuck?
You could have tripping trips.
Don't worry.
We
run to attack, but it's only playtime. I get it now. But this is a guided tipper. But this is all part of stepping back. It's stepping back. And then it's all coming, stepping back and putting the ship back together, or putting the ship back together, It's almost like the ship that we came in. We looked like this, but it was in energy form of this, And then the story writes us this solid into the energy form. So I used to always say, how the fuck are we going to get home? Because now we've got this organic solid form as an energy, But I can't stand in we can't stand in the starship anymore because I fall through the bastard because it's in an energy form.
Right.
So I'm like, God, we're fucked. You know what I mean? Because like we'll be standing there, it's like you see the starship, or the things get passed down to be taken out of a situation. Right? Yeah, but like we're solid. How the fuck are we going to fit in that? fall out the bottom.
Yeah.
But
I've got toilet facilities.
Yeah, you got toilets, food, blah blah. But
we eat now, we drink now, we use the toilet.
Yeah,
now.
and then on the other journeys, it's almost
complications to being solid.
Yeah, there's complications to it. But it's almost like, because obviously they work on reflections, energy people, and they work on reflections, and it can only be us reflecting through and out of who we are and bringing that's the organic, that because it's trees, they're within the trees and plants, and it's absorbing all of that, taking the negative out of all of that, what's happened, and then putting it all back together again. So it's a case of standing back. We also got told the ship can't fly until everybody's back in their place. It's a safety device.
Yeah.
So on the old starship, or whatever that we dealt with, we was all built out of the starship, and we manifest through the ship into the ship. But this is a different form, where we're in control, or looking after Mother Nature, and we're looking after everything. So we manifest everything around us. Not we're being manifested out of it. Being manifested out of it is what trapped us within. This is the case of taking control of all of that, and the universe manifests around us. We're not manifesting out of it, so it frees us as a physical form to enjoy space and travel. Because it's massive. Jungle, massive. How big is it? Fucking jungle. But also the starship,
never ending.
The start, and it was shown to us as well. There's like they call it a planetarium. So the planetarium is like the universe with the flowers in. But it's also what creates that's what creates all the planets within it, out of the flower coding, and all of that is what the ship's made out of. So the ship is an ecosystem, because it is the universe and everything that we need. Because we're all from the same energy, but we're all
interpret
sort of
it
like
differently.
Yeah, we all come from different star systems, so we've all got different needs. Slightly, but it's a case of taking all their needs and making the one planet, the one universe, so we can all share together instead of individually. Yeah,
makes sense, doesn't it? When because the whole encompasses everything, right? So you need the everything to create a whole.
And you can't have half a hole. If you dig a hole and fill half of it, if you dig a hole and fill half of it in, you still got a fucking hole.
But
these are the travels we go on, and this is what we get shown, or what we're part of, and like whatever we do, we always share it relevant to and from whoever, wherever. So you're sharing that. So that's why probably stuff we talk about resonates with us all, because as we're traveling, you're all traveling with us. Because we share all of that, and that's where this relevant to and from comes from. You know what I mean? So it's like
where we go on, we go on.
Where we go on, we're all the rule of one. Everything counts. It's all the same thing. But I've always said, when we're on our travels, everything's relevant to and from whoever, wherever you are in any universe, where we just whenever, wherever. And then you're sharing it to who needs it. The universe sorts the rest of it out. But honestly, on the travels we've been on, it's almost like it's a health and safety manual. All the negative is being used up, and within this, using the negative up, because it is a negative universe that we're in. But it's also this is inside the starship. This is built inside the starship, so these fuckers can't escape. And that's why they're obsessed in trying to get to a planet where they can't breathe instead of sorting this one out. They're obsessed in space travel. But there's nowhere to go because they're in safety mode. And this is where the nothing comes in. You can't have something without the nothing. Yeah. We're all part of the something, but there has to be nothing for the something to exist. And when you understand it, and once you understand everything about the something and how it works, you then understand the power of the nothing and the something in the nothing. That's why when you put something in a circle, yeah, and you put the something in the nothing, yeah, not the some. At the minute, this is the nothing, say, and the something is on the outside of the nothing,
containing
containing things around the outside to keep it safe. We put to understand the nothing, and that's why when people put something in a safe place.
Room 101.
Yeah, room 101, which is bad. So when you put something in a safe place, what you do is, you're actually demanifesting something, right? So when you put something in a safe place, subconsciously, what you're doing is you're looking at putting something in a safe place within your house. But subconsciously, what you're doing is, or what your physical is doing, is working out everywhere where somebody might look for that thing that you're hiding. So when you take that particular point and you put it in there, lock it away, safe or whatever, in the safe place, and then you go looking for it a week or two later, it's gone forever and you never find it ever again. You can rip that room apart and you'll never find it. So you've took a solid item and demanifested it by putting it into the safe place. Because that's how powerful we all are. What you've done is took it out of relevant to and from of where we are before it actually fucking happened, and put it in the fucking nothing. So the safe place is in the fucking nothing. So it actually puts it into that and takes it out of relevant to and from of this something and demanifests it. And that's solid items. And billions of people will go, and you never find it.
Can't you manifest it back again? Wouldn't it be possible to manifest
I fucking hope not, because by the time we get home, we've fucking fucking stuff everywhere.
I was hoping that
where's all this fucking shit come from?
Because if you can create,
everybody's lost.
Diminish, create, But
that is a phenomenon. Yeah, that is a phenomenon. You put something in a safe place, and you never find it ever again.
I used to call it the elusive place called safe.
Yeah.
It used to be a joke. Everyone would say, I'll put it somewhere safe, and blah, blah, over the years. And I just thought it's a pretty elusive place, isn't it? So many people go for the safe place, but then can't find it again afterwards. So I think
we have to remind ourselves not to put something in a safe place. Don't
put it in a safe place.
Don't put it in a safe place.
Obvious.
Because if you do, you take it out of reality. Yeah. Relevant to and from, and it's fucking gone forever. Even to the point we actually renamed our TV controls, as in always to hand and not fucking remote. Remote means fucking somewhere, wherever, you never fucking find them. Where's TV controls?
Where's my in the hand? Remote. Yeah, right.
So we wrote
we actually wrote it on the back of the controls.
Always to hand.
Always at hand.
Yeah. Some of them will lose them, but it's because they're called remote. Yeah. You think, where the fucking hell are they?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're actually manifesting it to be remote.
Yeah. And because billions of people have got a remote, it then makes the permutations.
Yeah. Well, they even made a fucking universal remote. Remember, there's a universal remote, so you can actually just remote it anywhere. It could go fucking anywhere out of my lounge room. It's gone.
Yeah. but it also, somebody's got to make a stand somewhere about this demanifestation. It was like you can talk about what's going on in past tense, looking in, but you're not manifesting it to carry on. Where if people keep going on, about the same thing all the time, we're just keeping the same fucking story going.
It's like people sharing all these videos in Messenger, and you're just manifesting it more and more, carrying on the saga.
I know,
aren't you?
So it's standing
breathing life
back
into it.
Stop sharing all that stuff. Stop sharing all that shit.
Take 3 steps away from the bonfire. And they go, that's where the ship is. We all carry parts of the ship. And we all lock ourselves back into the ship, get ready to fly.
Yeah,
that I think is the way forward. Everything else you try doesn't work. I always say to people, "Well, you've tried this all your life and it never works. So try something fucking different." different to see if it does. And then they come back and go, fuck me, it worked.
Yeah.
I said, of course it will, because you're in control of the permutations. So permutations equals energy. Yeah. So the more permutations of something's happened, yeah, the more it makes it happen.
Yeah.
Because there's a physics wrong key. You know what I mean? It's always the wrong key. I spoke about before, the wrong key. It's always the last key. Because of the key point, wrong way around. And the more people, then it's 2 to 1, 3 to 1, billions to 1. So when you get that key in your hand, it's the fucking furthest away from the right one. Because of the energy, the physical energy that goes into it. But by understanding that physical sort of like energy, like a graph, and taking control of that and bringing that in, and then trying something different, then permutations now become a positive permutation of, if you understand them, to make it work the opposite way.
Yeah. Mm.
And drive it, use all of that driving force, which does put the wrong key in your hand. Take that, absorb that, convert that into positive for the new direction as the driving force. So it's billions to the one that's gonna fucking work.
Yeah.
Because you've got the billions to the one that it fucking won't. Understanding how it works, take them billions to the one, to the new one, to make that fucking billions to that one. It will. That then becomes positive to make that positive expanding future drive forward.
Yeah.
It's simple as that, really.
Sweet.
Yeah. And that's demanifesting to the fucking mat.
It is.
Because you're using the manifestation of that problem, absorbing that from the billions to the one, and this is to the one, and then your one, we're one to the one, and out, which is the 11 and 22, which is all 1-1s.
Yeah.
So there you go. Try it. Just visualize that every problem, because it's a negative universe, it's been built that way on purpose to use the negative of it up. So all the negative of the universe is being used up. So then once you've used all the permutations of negativity, it has to become positive.
Yep.
Because that's the only thing that's left.
Perfection encompasses imperfection. I remember a friend of mine teaching me this years ago, and I used to think perfect is perfect, right? Perfection is perfection. No faults, no nothing, no, mind you, a little naive in my thinking. But and she chuckled and she said, no, even in the Persian rugs that are so perfect, they actually sew an imperfection or weave an imperfection purposely into the rug to create perfection. And I grappled with that for some, not ages, but I used to go, but it's not perfect. How can it be perfect? You actually purposely put a fucking mistake in. So it's not perfect. But then when I realized and I stopped my human way of thinking and my consumer brain and my female where, this whole, you got to be perfect fucking bullshit. And then I realized that the encompassing of negative, positive, perfect, imperfect creates the balance and creates the whole. So what you're saying is the same thing, you must have the darkness with the light, but one's got to precede the other. Do you know? Like there is I think a process and a time to it. Getting the time.
And that's all part of using all the negative up to then create the beautiful
out of it. Because all negative then becomes a positive. So it's almost like if you use one, so when we've got I've shown this, you got your positive, which is like that sort of sign, and then your negative, which is like it's that, So you use one positive, and then as that goes along, then the negative wants to cancel out the positive,
right.
So that as it wants to cancel out, you only ever use one positive, and let the negative then double negative itself. So double negative makes an artificial positive, right? And let it run, let it run, let it use all the negative factors. So then when it's finished, it becomes a positive. So you only ever use one positive, and all the negatives. So the new sort of like positive expanding universe is built out of negativity. You only use one positive. You're not even use that up.
So
then that gives you that. It stays. So then that becomes the positive expanding universe.
So what would that look like, say, for a kid, right? What would that picture? Would it be you sitting in a bubble somewhere with your little positive, and you can say to a kid, imagine you're positive.
What it would look
and
like
you're drawing in all of these negatives
yeah.
that hit it maybe and go bing and turn into a positive.
Into it. So if you imagine you've got your bubble, your sphere, and we sit in the middle as a point on a planet, and we're on that middle there, and then from there right to the outside of the sphere is all the positives of the expanding future, and each one of them is who we become in the future by point. When it gets to the end of the sphere, you've got the positive that wants to go out from the sphere. But what it does, as that positive goes to expand, it changes then the present here. So who we are, who we become, is already out there expanding positively forward, and our present
driving us forward.
Oh, so we're already there. We're already who we are with the technology and everything else. So then we live in the present. So that expanding future changes the present around us. Clonk, 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 constantly like that.
Yeah.
So we live in the present, controlled by the expanding positive future of who we are and who we've become in energy form. And then we live so it's almost like on our journeys, it's almost like all of this is because we created all this in the first place in like an energy form, but the energies couldn't walk upon what they created. So it's almost like this is now created a physical form for the energies to enjoy what they create.
I get you. I really get you there. Yeah.
You get that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So when we was in energy form, we used to create all these beautiful universes, but the energies who we all are couldn't enjoy the smells and sounds of them. Yeah. So all of this has been created, so this physical form can enjoy what we create.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
And this is why I know full well there's a lot of troublesome species out there that would cause a problem in the future. So they've been bought here. We've given them our physical form, wrapped them all up, embedded them into this earth, as in like you're part of the earth. That's where religion comes from, because it embeds them into the earth of like you're special. You've been created by a God. You've been created by this and created by to embed them in, to give them purpose and to give them worth. Yeah. But all they've done is destroy. All this technology that we have has come out of the original starship, because they can't create anything. They just want to destroy anything. So how can they create something when they can't? Or their negatives, whatever they do, destroy. So all of this technology and everything has come out of our original starship, and we've given them all of that. But then they've used that for war and destruction and everything else. It's like so basically, but we can't decide who's who and who's what. That's what it's relevant to and from, whoever, wherever. It's the universe, and I think the Abracadabra clock is the time clock of the universe, and they've got so long to sort themselves out, as in to be positive, to go forward. And if they don't, then it's the end. A negative cannot exist in a positive universe, because there is no such thing as negative anymore. So it's pub off.
Yeah, right. Well, there you go.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Hey, we're doing well. We're nearly clocking the 3 hour mark. 2 hours 58.
3:06.
It goes so fast, doesn't it?
I've done it. We have conversations in the week with Amy and everybody else, and go and Tash and go, oh my God, we've been on the phone for 2 hours. That was another podcast.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I do that. I mean, I spoke with my son the other night on the phone for 5 hours, 40 minutes. Just, he was doing stuff, I was doing stuff. It's just, it was fantastic. I mean, I love that stuff. That's always been my, I love conversations because.
Excuse me, I've got an old-fashioned cold. Remember these?
Blow those greenies out, love.
Remember these colds? Remember when people used to have colds?
Yeah.
That's me, old school. People don't have colds now. You know what they get. Isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Funny,
just
isn't it?
ridiculous, isn't it? Just ridiculous.
But isn't it funny how people have forgot that right from whenever they can ever remember having a cold?
Where did man flu go?
I've got that. Oh, you wait till later.
That went as well.
Going out. Oh my god, I'm dying. but people have forgot, you know, in the whole thing.
Yeah.
They forgot about. We've always had colds. Where now, you know, you see people blow the nose, and people are like, oh my god.
Hi, Terry.
You got a cough.
Yeah, sneezing.
Sneezing, coughing. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Panictations.
It is though, isn't it? It's bonkers.
Crackers.
Right, does anybody want to say anything before we leave the
No, I think it's just been really
Just say goodbye.
good timing.
If you don't see you next week, you know what happened.
I have to say, I think it's a really good idea to take a step back.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
To teach people to
we can
stop
still
having
talk
to
about
control.
it. You're talking about outside the bonfire, yeah? That's what it's about this. We can still talk about what's going on, but we're doing it from outside the fire, not from inside.
Absolutely.
You get burnt on the inside if you get too close.
Yeah, and you get smoke inhalation. You get, it's uncomfortable too close to the flame sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's been wonderful.
You get burnt. It has, isn't it?
Yeah, it has. Yeah. Should we leave it at that?
Should we leave it at that? No, we'll have a chat afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Hopefully see you next week. Depends how well we
Chatting
do.
with you from Australia. Bye.
Bye.